Well, well, well. Cowboys have another signing. And if you haven't liked what the Cowboys have done so far, you are definitely not going to like this one. But the Dallas Cowboys have signed another edge rusher, defensive end, Peyton Turner, a former first-round pick. I got a couple of articles I dug up talking about this kid. And I'm telling y'all right now, the Cowboys are doing something that is probably going to frustrate some of us. But I can see exactly what they're doing. One, they're getting depth. But number two, they're telling us something else. They're very confident in the coaching staff. They believe their coaching staff is going to be able to take a player like Peyton Turner, who is a first-round draft pick. The Cowboys feel like they can bring him in now with this coaching staff. And they're saying that we can probably get something out of it. And a lot of these moves, now, we got to be honest with this. A lot of these moves are very low risk for the Cowboys. These are very low risk. Cowboys are getting some of these to say, hey, we're going to kick the tires on this. And if it don't work out, at the very least, very little commitment. The Cowboys are not sweating some of these moves, but at the same time, the Cowboys are hoping that their coaching staff, and I'm telling you, this is where they are. Their coaching staff, they feel is so good that they're going to be able to pull something out of these people that people haven't been able to pull out. Now, let's think about this part too. The Cowboys are taking somewhat of a gamble, and I can understand the gamble they're taking. You're hoping that you get guys like this, that they want to prove it so bad that not only will they be receptive to what you're doing, they're going to excel. And you're hoping to turn these guys into, okay, we got them for this price. They're going to be heavy contributors this year. You can either re-sign them or whatever the case may be, these guys, they get to restore their career. But the Cowboys have picked up another guy, and I'm not mad at Peyton Turner. He looks like he has a lot of potential. Let me get some greetings in, and we about to get started. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy hitters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this stream, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you already haven't. Become a member if you already haven't. Please support this channel. Man, we got a lot of great things coming. We are trying to get back in the studio. Man, I got that thing full of paint and paint brushes. And boy, my wife's been on me, man. I got to get back in there. And I hope to get back in there the next 2 weeks. It's going to look totally different. For sure, by the time free agency hit, we're going to celebrate the opening of the new studio. And we're going to do a lot of things that day. But again, as it currently stands, we're still in this temporary part. But y'all stay with me, keep rocking with me. Got a lot of great things coming on this channel. Now let's talk facts. If you haven't liked the first 3 picks, I can tell you up front, you're not going to like this pick. Let me make sure I get me some greetings in here before I get started. What's going on, Big C from Tennessee? What is up with you? How's everything going out there, man? Hope all is well. Nubian King 410, what's going on? D-Hawks, what's going on? D-Hawks, be patient. He said, I've had it with these pathetic signings. I'm done with Jerry, but especially Steven. I know it's all him brainwashing Jerry. The old Jerry used to sign big names. Just hey, D-Hawks. We got a whole week. But I understand where you are. Because like I said, if you didn't like the first three, man, you going to hate this one. You going to hate this one. What's going on, Bumpy? What's going on, Bumpy? Bumpy 6X, what's going on? Oak Cliff Rockefeller, love that name. What's going on? Boy, did he not get that bag. I'm happy for him, too. Boy, I got a piece coming on Turpin, boy. Man, I got a piece coming on Turpin. Boy, y'all going to enjoy it. I'm going to get to work on it tonight as soon as I get off. I got a piece coming on Turpin like no other, man. Y'all are going to be thoroughly satisfied with the piece I'm going to do on Turpin. Man, I'm telling you, this boy Turpin, man, I can't wait to talk about it tonight. Man, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Turpin, and I'm going to leave it at that. But I'm happy, man, Turpin got the bag. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Hey. Boy, that second round, that second round tender was, whew. Man, that second round tender was kind of enticing, man. But the Cowboys, they put it out there. Nobody bit. I like what the Cowboys did. They didn't disrespect Turpin to me from this perspective. You put it out there. You left it out there until day 2. Nobody bit. There's no point in disrespecting them, leaving them out there to day 3, leaving them on a 1-year, 5.4. No, don't even do all that. Just go ahead and sign the man. Salute. Appreciate what they did. My man Jared is in the house. What's going on? Man, you know what? I'm liking what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have loved had they got Jonathan Allen. I mean, I would have loved to get some of these picks like Kinlaw. I would have Greenlaw, I think it is. I would have loved to get some of those type of picks, but it didn't happen. But they're doing something. They're doing something, and what they're doing is adding depth to the team. You add depth to the team so that when you do get that player that you know that's going to come in and really maybe wreck shop, you got depth. Now, y'all might remember, but I've said this about the Cowboys for a while. The one thing that has always perturbed me about the Cowboys in the last few years, always extremely top heavy. You take one of our starters out, we're done. It's been that way for a while. You take out a starter, we're done. Well, the way they're doing it now, you take out a starter, we're not going to be done. We're not going to have to be scrambling and trying to get people from the local Walmart to come play on the team. No, they're putting depth on the team. And let me tell you this. Let me get some more greetings, and I'm going to tell you this part about what I think they're doing, too, with the depth. See, Burleson, what's going on in the crib? Salute. My man, Blue Star, what's up? What Cook saying about the Cowboys? Oh, I got to check it out. I know he said he wanted to play with the Cowboys again, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to bring him back. I don't think it's cheap enough. Louis said cheap clearance rack backup signings. Now, you're correct, but the glass is either half empty or half full. You say cheap clearance rack backup signings. I call it depth. I call it low risk depth. And I'm going to tell you why they are doing this. And this is the part we got to wrap our head around. Because, man, I am telling you, I know there are some people that are not happy about what the Cowboys are doing. But again, let me clue you in. The glass is either half empty or half full. You said cheap clearance. I understand what you're saying. You call it cheap clearance. I call it low risk. Backup signings. I call it depth. Now, let me make a note real quick because I'm going to come back after I get some more greetings in. I'm going to tell you, and I'm not going to tell you this is going to make you feel better. I'm just going to tell you what I know they're thinking based on what they're doing. Let me write my note down. After I get my greetings, I'm going to come back. All right, let me come back. I'm going to come back to this point. I appreciate the comment, Lou A. Ice Cold Cowboy, what's going on with you? Good to see you. Ultra Cowboy back up in here. Appreciate you. He says Solomon Thomas and Turner are first-round players. Williams is a second rounder. Taking flyers on talented players. I like it. Ultra Cowboy, I like it. I do. I like what they're doing. And again, let me take y'all back. You're not going to like what I'm saying. But let me get some more greetings in. And then I'm going to circle the block on some of the things that we're saying. Taking a few notes. I want to make sure I don't forget this stuff. All right. I appreciate you, Ultra Cowboy. I'm looking forward to some of the things you contribute. Jorge 23-4, he said there's a bunch of backups. Now, if they can bring in a big name, it would be perfect. Yes, I agree now. I like what you're saying there. A lot of people don't like this. I saw someone talking about this on X, and I thought it was interesting what he said. He said most teams, when they build depth, they build from the top to the bottom. He said he didn't like what the Cowboys are doing. The Cowboys are building the depth from the bottom to the top. Now, let's think about this. There's a game that I've been watching. Well, hold on a second. I like this comment. I'm going to come back. I'm going to circle the block on this too. I want to get some more greetings in. Now, again, I'm not telling us what I'm about to tell you that we're going to like it. I'm not going to tell you you're going to like it. I'm just being honest with you. All right, I got a third note. I'm going to circle the block on all of this. But I like these comments. My girl Angie, the Rebel Chicks, is in here. Yeah, I'm back at it again. I'm back at it. She said I'm back at it again. I will be listening while working. Yeah, I'm back at it for sure. Yeah, I agree with you, Angie. Y'all hit that like button. 339 and counting in here. Y'all hit that like button. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Yeah, I have to this week, Angie. It's so much going on with this free agency. You can't catch it all in one live stream. So I'm gonna try to catch it twice a day for the next week. I'll be pretty much wore out, but it's all good. I love the Cowboy family. All right, Poobie D, what's going on? We waiting on Cup to get released. Yeah, because the Cowboys are playing poker with the Rams. The Rams have already played their hand. They've already said they're going to release him. So the Cowboys are saying, well, we're not going to come out here and throw you no money if you're just going to release him. I agree with him. Gregory Carpenter in the crib, what's going on? Gregory said, keep getting guys who are hungry. See, that part right there, that's the part I'm liking. You get guys who are hungry. Who do you think going to be hungry? Now, let me tell you about guys. Hold on a second. Gilbert Arenas said something. Boy, I don't quote Gilbert Arenas a lot because Gilbert be tripping. But I'm going to circle the block. I want to get some more greetings in. I like what you said, Gregor. This is what I'm saying. These guys are hungry for a reason. All right, I'm going to come back. I'm not telling everybody they're going to like what I'm saying, but I'm just going to tell you what I can see the Cowboys doing. My boy Johnny Blue, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, man, I'm coming twice a day this week. And for sure, I'm going to be here at 4:30. My man Intelligent Savage in here, what's going on? This my man who know everything about college. Now, Intelligent, you going to tell me something about Peyton Turner, man. I got an article I'm going to read on Peyton Turner in a moment. Now, you tell me if you've been keeping up with Peyton Turner. Because from all intents and purposes, he was supposed to be him. He was supposed to be a good one, for sure. He was supposed to be a good one. What's up with your Jigga Man? Jigga Man, what's going on? Cowboy Nation's never. Hey, man. Hey, Jigga Man. I'm laughing, Jigga Man, because I'm telling you this. Man, it's not even free agency. People don't realize something. From what I can tell, trying to look back in the annals of history, we're doing more than we've done in the past. I mean, we're literally doing more than we've done in the past. I mean, the Cowboys, man, I think they delayed their vacation. They're going to work. They are going to work, Jigga Man. I like what they're doing. Let me get a few more in here, and I have to get to some of the rest of them as I go along. Lonnie Cabal, what's going on? Peyton Turner, 39 pressures last year. Chauncey had 37. Definitely an upgrade for a cheaper price. Lonnie, appreciate that. Dropping facts up in here. Appreciate you. I like that comment. Yes, sir. Ultra Cowboy, he said the G-Spot podcast. Yes, sir. Studio Live is where it's at. Yes. Buddha, what's going on, my man? Good to see you up in here. Man of God Transport, my first time. Love that you can speak fluently and clear. Let's get it go, Cowboys, for sure. Appreciate you. Renan, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Our hopes is going to space. No. Just, hey, Renan, just hang in there, man. Just hang in there. I think the Cowboys are doing what they want to do. I think they're doing what they want to do. Yes, sir. Mills said another strategic move, more depth. I'm going to come back and comment on this in a moment. My man, Neo, not from the Matrix. What's going on? He said, I have a feeling about this coaching staff. I'm going to come back to that because that's really one of the things we got to be paying attention to. Greg Johnson, good to see you. Steven, what's going on? Steven Bankenbush. Yes, sir. He said, I love to see New Cowboys podcast and appreciate you coming on in here. Jameson Taylor, I hope all is well with you. Hope you're feeling good. D Hawks. He said, thanks for always restoring hope. Hey, man, somebody got to encourage us. Hey, thanks for, and my bad for venting. Hey, man, you can vent all you want to. You can vent all you want to. Because in the grand scheme of things, D Hawks, I understand why everybody is tripping. I totally understand why everybody's tripping. Because I'm telling you, Jerry Jones requires an interpreter. When Jerry Jones said, I wouldn't call it aggressive. We're not filling voids. Listen to what he's telling you. Listen to what he's telling you. He said, because what we're going to do in the draft, that's what he told us. So, watch this. All this depth is for player development. I'm going to come back on this in a moment. It's for player development. They want to get some depth in here so they don't have to do and make the mistake they made last year. The mistake they made last year, they went all in on young guys, letting the veterans go. But when the young guys started going down, one by one, there was no depth. There was absolutely no depth. So they're building the depth of the team. It makes sense to me. People may not like it, but it makes sense. But I'm going to come back around. Miss Matrix, what's going on? At work, hopped on. Appreciate you. Hope this will let your time go by fast. Jermaine Rogers, what's going on? I'm sorry, Jeanette. Jeanette Rogers, what's going on? D-Block 88. What's up in here, man? What's up? He said, you're saying these guys are that good. Hey, I'm coming back. I'm going to circle the block on that. Watch what I'm going to tell you. Now, again, D-Block, you might not agree. You might not agree with what I'm about to tell you. It might not make people feel any better. But I'm going to tell you what they're doing. And it makes sense. Top Gunner, what's going on? No team was falling for that second round tender, man. Let me tell you. Top Gunner, I'm glad Turpin got signed. Boy, but hey, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. There was a part of me that was thinking somebody was going to bite. But again, I like what they did. No disrespect. They didn't try to leave it out there for the whole week. Hey, Turpin, tell you what we're going to do. Hey, just stay patient. We're going to see if somebody bites on that tender. Because at the end of the day, Turpin would have got a bigger bag if somebody bid on that tender. I guarantee you they'd have gave him a bigger bag. Nobody bid on it. Nobody bid on it. So the Cowboys brought him on back in and signed him, which is what they should do. My man Alex is up in here. Boy, I'm about to get to you somewhere in there, but you done got me on up in here. Hey, appreciate that super chat. Alex said, congratulations on 7,000. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man. This is all because of Cowboys Nation. He said, also, I have a feeling they're saving money to sign Cooper Kupp. You better believe they're keeping some money for Cooper Kupp. And I don't think they're only keeping money for Cooper Kupp. I think the Cowboys I thought they were going to get a big fish, 2 mediums, everything else small. I think they missed the big one. The big one was Greenlaw. They missed it. I think they know they missed it. They were just not willing to spend that kind of money on Greenlaw. And the Cowboys haven't spent more than $6 million on a free agent since Greg Hardy. They have not spent more than $6 million per year on a free agent since Greg Hardy, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Greg Hardy was something like a $10 million man. They decided not to go that route this time. All right, guys, I'm gonna get to the rest of you guys on here. I appreciate everybody in here. I see some folks in here. I'm gonna run through and see if I can get it through real quick. C-Base, what's going on? Lisa, what's going on? I see you. A-Dot, what's going on? Rudy Perez, Army Mom Heather C, what's going on? Texas Trucker, you know the deal. KC, good to see y'all. Cowboys Thanos, what's going on? Rick, is that Rock and Roll Riley? What's going on with you? I see y'all up in here. I see Blitz 301. My brother Roderick, my brother from another mother. What's going on? I see in here. Let's see. My eyes ain't good enough. Good Son 5. What's going on? Yes, sir. Bill Roster Depth. Angie, I'm gonna give you a second. I'm gonna give you a second greeting. You know what's up. Good to see you up in here. All right, Gregory Davis. All right, good to see y'all. All right, let me get back up here, and I'm gonna try to catch some of this stuff towards the middle and the bottom. I appreciate all y'all in here. Gregory Davis, what's going on? He said the Cowboys are signing players in free agency to make the draft much easier. It ain't over. It's just the beginning. Yes, sir. That's what I keep saying, Gregory Davis. And that's the part that people have to understand. This is not even free agency day. Tomorrow is. And watch what happens tomorrow. We're going to see how it all shakes down. There will be other players who were not in the top 101 free agents that NFL.com has up here. There will be more than these top 101 because there will be a few more players dropped into the pool. And when those players drop into the pool, we're going to get to see what the Cowboys do. Now, let me back up and go over some of the things that I told you. My girl Angie, appreciate that super chat. I would like Amari to spin the block. I'm out on cut, but regardless, it is what it is. DC4L. Hey, let me tell you something. You know, it's funny you bring that up. Look at this. How in the world is Amari Cooper still on here? It's telling us something about Amari Cooper. And Angie, I'm with you on this. I would spin the block on Amari Cooper because he's still out there. Man, you could come to Amari Cooper and, hey, Amari, how about $3 million a year? How about it give us a 2-year? Give us a 2-year, $8 million guaranteed, $12 million deal, $8 million guaranteed. I think the days of Amari Cooper getting $10 million a year, at least I think it is, the days of Amari Cooper getting $10, $12, $15 million a season, you can't be this far in second day of free agency. You cannot be this far into the second day and command $10 million. At least that's what my thinking is. Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, man, this is kind of like a writing on the wall for Keenan Allen. And Keenan Allen is a doggone good receiver. But I think people are telling Keenan Allen, you're not going to be able to command $10 or $15 million. Angie, this is crazy. I would circle the block on Amari Cooper. I would circle the block on Amari Cooper. And if I'm not going to circle the block on Amari Cooper, I'm at least going to send Keenan Allen a text. I'm going to at least send him a text, be like, hey, what it do? What it do? I mean, what you willing to play for? I would send Keenan Allen. I mean, you're talking about 2 really good wide receivers. Now, again, the problem people say with Amari Cooper, he disappears. And they say he disappears on number 1 receivers. I don't think you have to worry about him being on number 1 receivers because now the tables will be turned. CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 receiver, and he'll get the number 1 cornerback. Can Amari Cooper beat number twos? Can he beat number two cornerbacks? I think he's still good enough to do that. But again, I find it to be very strange that Amari Cooper is still on here. Asante Samuel Jr. I'm holding out hope for the Cowboys to call Asante Samuel Jr. Don't want no part of Stephon Diggs. That's the one wide receiver. He got so much going on. I'm like, no. Still don't understand why they have Javon Hargrave on here. Still don't understand that. I'm wondering if somebody's going to get Calais Campbell. I'm wondering if somebody's going to get Calais Campbell on the cheap. Y'all told me already you don't want him in Dallas. Again, Chanel, he may not be on here right now. This Azeez Ahulari. I think the Cowboys ought to look at him. DeMarcus Lawrence. The Cowboys are smoking DeMarcus Lawrence out. Will not be surprised if DeMarcus Lawrence signs with the Cowboys, but it won't be $14 million a season. I guarantee you. It will not be $14 million a season. He better be looking at half that because I think they got DeMarcus Lawrence in a chokehold. Also, Diggy Zua said something in the Shannon Sharp thing that I did the video on that I really liked because he made a lot of sense. Everything in Dallas is conducive to what he does. DeMarcus Lawrence, let's say the Cowboys offer you $7 million. No one's offering you 14 because if they were, they'd already offer you. DeMarcus Lawrence, if someone comes and offer you $10 million, is it really $10 million? If you have to uproot your family, move to another state, state taxes, cost of living, all that changing for your children's schools and all of that, as someone who's been through stuff like this, when you start weighing all that stuff out, I mean, sometimes as a preacher, people want you to come all over the country. They want you to uproot your whole family. Man. And sometimes people even pull the okie doke on you. Yeah, we're going to give you a $30,000 raise. Yeah, but $30,000 here ain't $30,000 where I am. It may be less when you start looking at the cost of living, housing, food, state taxes. So all money ain't good money. And so DeMarcus Lawrence, the Cowboys are smoking him out. I think they want to bring him, but they're smoking him out. But again, another place I am on DeMarcus Lawrence, you got to get players who want to be here and play. I wouldn't want a guy who's going to just settle on playing here. I want a guy that want to be here. That's kind of where I would be with DeMarcus Lawrence. Because again, y'all remember what he said last year. We were tired. And I think he was talking about mentally. So Cowboys may not bring DeMarcus Lawrence back unless he's willing to play. And I mean, he's willing to play dirt cheap. But again, what we have left out here, and this one right here is still shocking to me. Joey Bosa is still out here. People are afraid of this dude. That's the only reason why he's out here. People are looking at Joey Bosa like he's Mr. Glass. That's how they're looking at him. And nobody wants to take the chance on him. It's obvious. I would still bring Joey Bosa in, or at least would send him an email. Hey, what are you willing to play for? At the end of the day with these guys, what are you willing to play for? Dante Fowler. I would not be mad if the Cowboys brought in Dante Fowler. Some of you saying you're out on him, and I can understand you're pouring on Dante Fowler. But, man, 10.5 sacks as a rotational player last year, man, I'm sorry. I gotta circle the block on this dude. I have to circle the block. I have to circle the block on Dante Fowler. Man, he probably will play for the league minimum or somewhere around $3 or $4 million. I'm telling you about Dante Fowler. Whoever get this dude, they are going to get them. I don't know how long it's going to last. Dante Fowler's going to have something to prove. Whoever he goes to, Dante Fowler is going to try and prove I'm better than people think I am. I'm telling you, I circled the block on him. But this is kind of where we are right now. Rico Dowdle is still out there. Don't think the Cowboys are going to bring him back. I think the Cowboys are going in the draft and get them a running back. We got Zadarius Smith. He's still out there. Which I think Peyton Turner may have just nullified even getting him. Stephon Gilmore still out there. Kazir White is still out here. Rasul Douglas is out here if you're looking for cornerbacks. But again, man, Keenan Allen being on here still is crazy to me. Still crazy to me. Tyron Smith, I know nobody wants to bring him back. DeAndre Hopkins, I will not be surprised if DeAndre Hopkins is not an early sign for any team. I think DeAndre Hopkins will be maybe a signing for someone later on. He's kind of hit that age, too, where people are just not going to pay him. And then, again, we got Gainwell and Chubb. But, again, this is what it is. Now, let me circle the block on some things that we said. We talk about I said low risk and depth. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys, and you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you. D-Block 88, I'm about to tell you. The Cowboys are saying, Stephen Jones told us, the Cowboys think they're better than what they are. We had this discussion last night. The Cowboys don't see themselves as a 7-10 team. Hey, Bill Parcells said what? You are what your record says you are, right? Well, in the case of the Cowboys, they're saying no. The Cowboys are saying no. We're not who our record says we are because our record says we're 7-10. But Dak Prescott said, I didn't finish the season. DeMarcus Lawrence was hurt. Michael Parsons was hurt. Overshown went down. Trayvon Diggs went down. Cornerback after cornerback went down. Zach Martin wasn't the same. He got down. We lost offensive linemen. The Cowboys are saying something. If we went 7-10 with all those injuries, let me add this part, and bad to mediocre coaching, what are we going to be when we get healthy? That's what they're telling us. What are we going to be when we get healthy? What are we going to be with way better coaching, a way better game plan, way better scheme? What are we going to be? They're telling us we're better than 7-10. And I have to say, I'm not saying that we were Super Bowl bound, but I'm telling you, we're better than 7-10. That's what they're telling us. We're better than 7-10. They're telling us when we get healthy, we've owned Filthy, we've owned the Commanders, we've owned the Giants, we've owned the NFC. We went 3 12-win seasons. Despite all the things we had circulating around us, we're better than what you think. So they're saying something. Y'all not going to like what I'm going to tell you. Players like the Commanders, for example, they're looking for big names. The Cowboys are saying we have big names. Even the Eagles are saying this now. The Eagles will let go of a lot of players. You know what the Eagles are kind of saying? Hey, man, we won a Super Bowl. And we got big name players. And some of the players we let go of, we'll replace them in the draft. We'll replace them in the draft because we still got the big names. We got the Devontae Smith. We got the A.J. Brown. We got the Jalen Hurts. We have the players they have on the line. You can go down the line on the names on the offensive line, defensive line. Even though they lost a couple on the defensive line, they still got big names in places. You look at what these teams who are spending the most money, what are they doing? They're getting the big name players. Let me tell you, Jerry's going to make this argument I'm going to make this argument, and you're going to hear Jerry make the same argument. You know what Jerry's logic is? Why am I going in free agency to get the big names when I got big names? I got Dak Prescott. I got CeeDee Lamb. I got Micah Parsons. I got Oso Digizua. I mean, he's going to go down the line on us on big names. And Kevontae Turpin, love it, like it, or hate it, big name. Brandon Aubrey. I think they need to get a deal done with Brandon Aubrey. Big name. When you just keep going down the line, the Cowboys are saying something. We need depth behind the big names. They're telling us, and we might not realize it. They're telling us, Mozzie Smith, big name. Deron Bland, big name. Trayvon Diggs, used to be a big name, but could still be considered by them a big name. And I'm telling you, they didn't sign Marquise Bell for no reason. I'm telling y'all, Marquise Bell. Now, forgive me, I made a comparison last night. I wasn't trying to make the comparison. I'm just saying, this dude Marquise Bell can thump. He can thump. He played linebacker for us. Stu can thump. Marquise Bell was signed for a reason. We're going to see which one of those safeties they let go of. So the Cowboys are telling us, and I know we might not like it. No, man, we already got big names. We don't need no more big names. We need depth. That's what they're telling us. What got us last year is depth to go behind the big names. Notice what they did. They did. Okay, we got Oso Digizua and Mozzie Smith. What are they doing? They're getting players they've already got a player to go behind that player. On the edge, who they're going to put on the edge is not the two players we've seen that they've gotten. They're not looking at them for the edge. They're looking at them for the depth on the edge. I'm telling you what the Cowboys are doing, because the Cowboys are saying, no, guys, we're better than what our record showed. And whether anybody like it or not, love it, like it, or hate it, can we argue against that if Dak Prescott is healthy? Can we say the Cowboys win the same amount of games? I believe they win more than 7 games. I believe they win more than 7 games. I do. They win more than 7 games. I'm not telling you they're going to the Super Bowl. They win more than 7 games. And again, what got us was the depth. I know we don't like that answer. The Cowboys think they're better than 7-10. Let me give you the next part of the equation. And this part of the equation is insanity, but I believe it to be true also. One of the things I complained about during the season, I just thought the coaching was terrible. In particular, Mike McCarthy, terrible. Offense, terrible. Mike Zimmer, God bless him. This man did so much with less. This man deserves an award. Mike Zimmer tore it up. Unfortunately for Mike Zimmer, his back end kept giving him up. And again, this is one of the reasons why. Al Harris, was anybody shocked when Al Harris got let go? I was. Until I started hearing the talk. Until I started hearing the talk around the Star that there was rumors that, you know why the back end was so bad? Al Harris was a secondary coach. They were glad to let Al Harris go. I thought Al Harris was going to be an heir apparent as a coach, a coaching candidate, or get him to the point to where he would be a coaching candidate for another team. But the Dallas Cowboys secondary was horrible. Horrible last year. It was. They were one of the main reasons why things were being given up. Let me read my super chats and I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to stay with this coaching thing for just a moment. Roger, appreciate you. He said, I just want to be signed as a towel boy. Man, he said, because they make $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Keep up the good work, G. He said, let's go, Cowboys Nation. Hit that like button for sure. Hey, man, you got me rolling up in here. I'm trying to tell you, the long snapper, Mills will tell you that the money is in the long snapper. He got $3 million for long snapping. Man, Martin Holman, appreciate that super chat. He said, just found you less than a month ago. You're getting me through work. Got to sub you up. Keep doing you. He said, keep doing your thing. Goat Master. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Yes, sir. To God be the glory. I appreciate you on that. But again, I'm going to tell some of us something that we don't like, but I'm telling you the truth. They're saying if our coaching is better, every player on this team is going to be better. Man, the Cowboys are looking at players through a different lens. They're not looking at the players through the lens of, man, he has the potential to be this. Now we get to say something different that we've never said before. Y'all know what they're saying? They're looking through players through the lens of their coaches, saying, if our coaches get a hold of these players, that's what they're saying. You're watching with these players. Confidence in the coaching. This is why even when I look at these players, I'm looking at them through a different lens. I'm looking at them through the lens of not of what they've been, not of just what they can be. I'm looking at them through the lenses of, for once, I've only had this feeling twice now. I've only had it twice. And right now is the twice. You want to know what the first time was? Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson. Let me tell you about, okay, so Jimmy Johnson. What's his name? Bill Parcells. Let me tell you about Bill Parcells. Do not get me wrong. Definitely not disrespecting Bill Parcells. But by the time Bill Parcells got to the Cowboys, Bill Parcells was a Super Bowl winning coach. Well respected in this league. And it's a different aura when you walk into a room and say, I've won multiple Super Bowls. I've been to multiple Super Bowls. It's a different aura. Because you're not walking into the room saying, hey man, I'm hungry. I'm starving. Any means necessary, we got to get this thing. No, I walk into the room saying, been here, done that. Let me tell you how to do it. And if you don't do it like this, then we ain't going to get it done. Your whole conversation is predicated around you've already done it. I learned this early on in my career. Sometimes people don't like when you come into a building saying, yeah, when I worked here, this is what we used to do. They don't say it to your face, but then when you walk away, people be like, man, he always talking about what they used to do with his old job. I don't care about his old job. This ain't that place. This is what we do here. People don't like that kind of talk a lot of times. And depending upon the coach, you walk into the room with this aura of, my boo-boo don't stink. Listen to me. I know how to do it. And if you don't do it the way I want to do it, then it ain't going to work. It's a different aura than when you walk into the room and say, I want to win. And I want to win a Super Bowl. And we're going to get this Super Bowl. And this is how we're going to do it. I want guys that are hungry like me. I want to hit guys and say, do you want this Super Bowl as bad as I do? I got to get guys who want it bad as I do. I'm not saying I don't want guys who haven't done it before, because those guys are good when you're talking about the player perspective. But again, I still want guys who are hungry. And let me tell you about that Dallas Cowboy team. I keep going back to them, and I'm telling y'all, I'll wreck every team in every decade with the 92-93 Cowboys. You know why? It wasn't just because they were good. They were. They were absolutely fabulous. They were hungry. They were hungry. That 92-93 team was absolutely hungry. And in particular, the coaches were. Yeah, Jimmy had did it in college, but he hadn't did it on the biggest stage, the pros. And that joker came on this team, and Jimmy Johnson was hungry. The coaching staff was hungry. And it became infectious. The team became hungry. And watch this. When they brought that joker Charles Haley on, let me tell you something. This is why, for me, Dante Fowler, I would really be thinking hard on Dante Fowler. Let me tell you about Charles Haley. He was already a game wrecker when we got him. But you know what really ticked him off? San Francisco. Charles Haley had one intention and one intention only. He was already mean. But boy, he wanted to beat the San Francisco 49ers bad. That man had a chip on his shoulder that was insanity. He was hungry. He was hungry. Jerry Jones was hungry. Jerry knew the only way to get the Cowboys to the point to where they are now. At the peak, they've been worth $11 billion. They've fallen off a little bit. Okay, $10 billion. Jerry Jones was hungry. He had to win. He knew the only way Jerry could get the big stadiums, the only way he could get the TV money, the only way he could get the endorsement deals, the only way he could really, truly put the NFL. This is why the NFL loved Jerry Jones. Don't let nobody fool you. The NFL loves Jerry Jones. This is why you never hear coaches complaining about him clowning. This is why you never hear about the NFL complaining about him clowning. They don't complain about Jerry Jones. Have anybody noticed that? They love Jerry Jones. What Jerry Jones has done for the foundation of the NFL will never be matched again. I don't believe it'll ever be matched again. A lot of the stuff y'all are seeing, that's Jerry Jones. It's Jerry Jones. Jerry showed this league what you can do if you really put this league out there and you turn it into something that people, because people already were kind of watching it, but Jerry put it on another level. Whether we realize it or not, Jerry put it on another level. Jerry went out there and started getting the TV money. Jerry was straight clowning up at this thing, y'all. I'm telling you. If you notice, go look at when the NFL changed, when Jerry Jones hit the door. But Jerry Jones knew the only way I can pull this off is I got to make the Cowboys into world champions. He did it by hiring hungry people. Jerry was hungry too. Motives were different, but he was still hungry. The Cowboys feel like they have a very hungry coaching staff. And have you noticed the coaching staff is a mix of young, middle-aged, and a little bit older age guys, but they're hungry. They're hungry, and they're telling us. Dak Prescott said this. Dak Prescott said, now as much as he endorsed one Mike McCarthy, he said something. He said when Mike came in, it was different. Why? Mike had already won one. And you know what I noticed about Mike McCarthy after they started talking about Mike McCarthy? He was running around like he had won one. That's how he was running around. I've won one. And I know how to win one. And you do this, Mike, get out of here. Mike is a dinosaur. He'll never, I'll be shocked if he coaches again. Be shocked if he coaches again, I will. But again, the Cowboys and these players they're getting, don't mistake this for they think these players are top flight players. They're looking at these players through a different lens. We have top flight coaches. And because these players have the potential to be top flight players, we know our coaches can get the job done. I haven't felt like this since Jimmy Johnson. I feel like now we finally have a coaching staff. See, everybody was looking at Shoddy. The problem was when we looked at Mike McCarthy, we never thought about the fact that his coaching staff really wasn't that strong. But when I look at Shoddy, people say, well, he's not that strong. But when I look at his coaching staff, I go, nah, the coaching staff is incredible. All we got to do now is watch it materialize and watch it win. I'm telling you. I'm not telling you something that you're probably liking what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, this is what the Cowboys are looking at this stuff through. They're looking at this stuff through the fact that they believe that they finally have the coaching staff, that whoever they bring in here, they're going to be good. They are going to be good. Okay, let me see here. I just got a text. And I thought I saw a free agent on it. Let me see here. Oh, okay. This is somebody sending my stuff to somebody else. Okay. But again, the Cowboys are confident in their coaching. I'm just telling y'all, you don't have to like what I'm telling you. They're confident in their coaching. They are. And this is what we're watching. Let me go in here again. I think I got another super chat. My man Neo, not from the Matrix. What's going on? Appreciate that super chat. Neo, I said this earlier, and you're right. This looks like to me they're letting the coaches have input on these guys. They're listening to the coaches saying, hey, this guy right here, I think we can do something with him. I like it. This is how you build a team. Let them have some input. I agree with you, Neo. I said this the other day. I think this is also what's in their minds because these coaches, they have so much confidence in these coaches. I said it the other day. I thought that was a coaching pick. And for sure, let's see, what's his name? Y'all forgive me. I got to get these guys. I got to get used to these guys' names. Let me pull, what's his name again? I think the one I'm thinking of is the kid, Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas to me sounds like a coaching pick. The association with the defensive line coach, I think it is, I think that's a pick. I think that's one of his picks, and he's telling the Cowboys, hey, this guy is a high-value pick. I think that's what he's telling them. Let me get to the third thing, and I'm going to come back to the comments here. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's this game going on that it's going viral. So they line up cups, 2 rows of cups. They have a bucket at the bottom. The goal of the game is to see who can get all the cups in the bucket first. And when you first watch this game, you'll notice, and let me see, maybe since we're kind of waiting, I got some film over here that I want us to look at, but let's look over here while we're waiting on any kind of news. Let's see if I can pull it up. I want to show you I don't know what it's called. I just call it the cup game. That's all I call it. Let me see if it'll come up. And I think this will give you a great example of what the Cowboys are doing. Let's see if I don't know what it's called. I just call it the cup game. Let's see. And I think this will even give you a better illustration of what I'm talking about. Let's see. Probably can't find it. I just always come across it, and I'm always laughing every time I see it because when you watch it, you know, you would think, and let me explain it. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. But again, so they line up 2 cups. They line up 2 rows of cups. They have a bucket at the end. The goal is to see who can get all the cups in the bucket first. Now, you'll notice that in this game, one person starts right by the bucket, and they immediately start putting their cups, and they go from the bucket to the cup, bucket to the cup, bucket to the cup. What the other person starts out doing, they go all the way at the end of the line. They get the cup and run all the way down. They go all the way down to the line. They get the cup and put it in the bucket. And they keep doing this. And when you're first looking at this, you're saying, wow, that person is dumb that's doing the longer runs on the cup because the person who's doing the cups the closest is smart. But then something happens. As they get closer to the end, guess what happens? Because the person started at the end with the cups, by the time they get to the end, they don't have to run as far. All they have to do is just put their cups in the bucket because they're right there. And the person who started with their cups near the bucket, they lose because as they get less and less cups, they have to run further and further away. Now, what am I telling you in all that? The Cowboys are saying, rather than getting the top player first, and then you spend all the money, let's say you wind up spending all the money on the top player, what does the depth look like? How much do you have left for the depth? You spend all the money on the top player. Now you're really bargain shopping, which is what we tend to do. What are the Cowboys doing this time? How about we start at the far end of the race? How about we start with the depth first? How about we start with the depth and then we try to get value picks, fill the team with the depth, and then with the money we have left, now let us go get that medium tier player. Now let us go get that player because now we don't have to worry about scrambling to try to find bargain basement players. No, we're getting better than bargain basement players, and then when we put the icing on the cake, we're good. We may not like what I'm telling us, but what the Cowboys are doing is making sense. They're getting the depth. And that is in total opposite of what they've normally done before. Normally they're getting these types of players normally they're getting lower tier players because they don't have the depth. Because they are top heavy and they're going extremely cheap. In this case, they're building depth. They're building depth. We may not like this. They're building depth. Now let me say one more thing based on some comments that were made. Now, I want you to think about these players who they've been picked on the first day. And this is not a knock on any of these players. But Gilbert Arenas was saying something about Shaquille O'Neal, and I thought it was very interesting. He was talking about the fact of why Shaquille O'Neal could not be a coach. And Gilbert Arenas said that Shaquille O'Neal couldn't be a coach because he wouldn't have the patience to be a coach. He said because Shaquille O'Neal, naturally talented, gifted. Born athletic. I mean, just a lot of the things we see with Shaquille O'Neal, yeah, it is coaching. Some of it was coaching. Some of it was just natural ability. And that's one thing you just can't coach. You can't coach natural ability, or you can't coach a guy to be like you. You can't coach a guy to be 7 feet. You can't coach a guy to dunk the ball and shatter backboards. You can't coach a person to be able to move everyone off the basketball court. I'm telling y'all, if Shaquille O'Neal would have worked on his game rather than relying more on his athleticism, I'm telling you, Shaquille O'Neal could have been the best that ever played the game. Anybody that ever watched Shaquille O'Neal, Jordan is the GOAT. But let me tell you something about Shaquille O'Neal. I never seen nothing like him. I never saw anything like Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. Unstoppable. I don't know if that's ever been a word for any other player. And there have been some players that have been pretty much unstoppable. You know, you think about the Michael Jordans, you know, the Pistons, they basically beat him up. But Michael Jordan was pretty unstoppable too. Boy, when you talk about Shaquille O'Neal, they had to invent Hack-a-Shaq. They figured out his kryptonite. He couldn't shoot free throws. Other than that, Shaquille O'Neal was unstoppable. Problem is, how do you coach that? Now, what am I talking about? How am I relating this? You think about some of these guys that go right there at the top. These are the guys to where you're looking at, we already know they're athletically gifted and all these different things. You're getting these guys, and it's not saying they're good because they are good. You're getting those types of guys. But in this, what we're looking at now, I want you to think about this. Cowboys are also getting players with very high ceilings. They have very high ceilings. That's what they're looking at. They may not be these guys who automatically naturally gifted and all these different things, but also think about those people. When you get guys like that, how high is the ceiling? But when you get guys who have to work at it, and they got the potential, you say, man, the ceiling may be a little bit higher because you may be able to push them in ways that you couldn't push some of these other players. I'm going to tell you something, and I know a lot of people can attest to this. Man, let me tell you something. Man, I saw guys when I used to play basketball at the park back in the day. Man, I saw guys, I guarantee you, they were better than NBA players. Better than NBA players. All that natural ability, can do all kinds of things. But when you start looking at some of these people that make it sometimes, they don't always be the guys with the best ability. They have coach ability. They have drive. They have work. They have ethic. They're willing to do everything they can do to continue to get better and better and better. And so in those guys, sometimes you'll actually have a higher ceiling. You may have a lower floor, but you also have a higher ceiling because they're so willing to work to be better than what their ability may be. They may be, they're working so hard to, okay, what I lack in ability, I'll make up for in technique. So when you get guys like that, man, you can really, really churn out some very, very good players. And I guarantee you, we've all seen people like this. We've all seen people to where they were the best athletes, but maybe not the best players. And we saw some guys who were not the best players, and we go, man, that dude ain't no way he gonna make it. But they worked so doggone hard. They worked so hard, and you go, wow, ain't no way I thought they were never gonna make it. But they worked so hard. The Cowboys are looking at these types of players, and they're picking players that people may have said, because the NFL will eat you up and chew you out. They're looking at players and they're saying, hey, man, these guys right here, with the right coaching, they're going to be great for us. Now, again, I'm telling you some stuff you might not want to hear. You might not like what I'm telling you. But the Cowboys, we're looking at a team that is extremely confident in their coaches, and I absolutely love it. And that's why the players they've gotten, I'm not tripping on it, because I think they feel like that they have the coaches that can actually get these players to where they need to be. Now, let me read something to you. I found this. All right, let me see if I found an article, and I hope I can pull it back up. But I found an article on one Peyton Turner. And I'm going to go to the comments, especially for some of you college football watchers. Y'all tell me if y'all remember this. Let me see when this article, let's see, it's not telling me when it was written. Let's see. Okay, it was written April the 20th, 2021. Check this out. Houston edge Peyton Turner may be too good for the Cowboys to let escape Texas football. It looks like they circled the block on Peyton Turner. It looks like, according to blogging on the boys, people were wanting the Cowboys to get Peyton Turner. Hold on. All these ads. Peyton Turner may be too good for the Cowboys to let escape Texas football. This was in 2021. Says here the Dallas Cowboys are somewhat set at edge rusher with DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory as starters, with a solid platoon of rotational players. While it is not the most pressing need, the history of uncertainness of Gregory's availability combined with his expiring deal makes it a position the team could look to address at some point in the draft. It says there is really no high-end talent in this edge rusher class, even those who are considered to be top guys have many questions surrounding them. Cougars defensive end Peyton Turner, a Houston native, has been a late riser after flying under the radar for most of the process. He seems to be solidifying himself as a day two player and could be a seamless fit if the Cowboys look to go this route. Obviously, the Cowboys didn't choose to go that route. He's 6'5", 268 back then, 10.5-inch hands, 35 3/8 arm length, and a wingspan of 84 1/8 inches. So there were people that kind of already wanted the Cowboys or thought the Cowboys maybe should look at Peyton Turner. So the Cowboys have circled the block on one Peyton Turner. They circled the block on him. This is what we're watching. They circled the block. And let's see here. Now this guy right here, Real Bucks Talk, he was talking, and this is some of his college game. I don't know if any of y'all have had a chance to watch some tape on him. Let me go down in the comments before I go to the tape. Maybe you guys can give me some insight. I agree with your edge again. Y'all continue to hit that like button. We got 892 in here. We got 301 likes. Let's get some more going. Push us out there. D Shift, we need to sign a defensive back, linebacker, and wide receiver. We're gonna see. We got plenty of time. We got 3 more days to go. I'm good on it. Our fans are looking for big names. Big C. I think we've done the big name, maybe not as much in free agency. But again, I'm looking for them to build a team, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Okay, good. Mont Dog, he says he's a Saints fan. Cowboys fans, Peyton Turner is a straight up. Oh, man, Mont Dog said that Peyton Turner is a straight bum. Y'all don't fall for it. Okay, we're going to see. I want to see what everything shakes down to be when people start talking about Peyton Turner. I'm going to go to, I'm going to see what some more people are saying about Matty Turner. Alex, we are better than 7-10. We had tons of injuries, and now we got a new coaching staff adding depth and 11 picks in the upcoming draft. This is where they are. I'm telling you, we don't have to like it, but this is where they are. Roger M. said the Lions are not going anywhere. Also, Green Bay, we can't even beat them. Yeah, but we're going to still be good. Ron Simmons, depth makes sense. That's what we're doing. The dude won. He said, I believe that they definitely would have been better with a more healthy team, and they believe it too. Intelligent. Let me see. Dennis Green famously said, they are who we think they are, and we let them off the hook. And this is reality. We are 7-10, Jerry. Hey, Intelligent, tell me what you think about Turner. I'll look for you at the end. Tell me what you think about Peyton Turner. Maureen said a block punt away from a huge momentum swing. Okay. C. Burleson, we have no 2 wide receiver. They're going to address it in the draft, but I also think Cooper Kupp. I think they think Cooper Kupp is the answer. And I'll tell you this part. I'm very interested to see that if the Cowboys pull off Cooper Kupp, will they go in the draft? Please, I hope they go in the draft. This thing is too loaded not to go in the draft. But if they get Cooper Kupp, maybe they get 2 defensive players in the first 3 rounds rather than a wide receiver and a running back. We're going to see about that part. D Shift, he said, how far are we away from winning in the divisional round, though? Well, again, if the Cowboys solidify their run game, shore up their offensive line, book it. The Cowboys think they have their offensive line. They brought in someone who they think is going to be able to challenge. I think they're still going to do something in the draft. I think the Cowboys' offensive line is going to be way better than last year. Way better than last year. So if they get that line together, and be able to run the ball, Cowboys are going to be fine. Next thing they have to do, shore up the defensive side and get those trenches. Where the Cowboys have got to learn to start winning is the trenches. We've been terrible in the trenches for the last few years. Terrible in the trenches. You can't just control one line of scrimmage. If you want to be a championship team, you got to control both lines of scrimmage. Now, we're working on that in the depth. That's what we're working on. We feel like y'all like it, love it, or hate it. The Cowboys believe that Mozzie Smith and Oso Digizua, they are the answers. They just want to get some depth behind them. And they're going to go in the draft, and I believe they will still get even more depth behind them. They're going to get more depth behind them, and they'll get one more defensive tackle in the draft, and they'll probably be in the top 3 rounds. Wait a minute, let me read what my man D-Block said. D-Block 88 said, hey, man, bro, Jerry Jones would love you. Hey, I don't know if he would. But I'm just telling you, this is what from what I'm seeing, this is what they're doing. Roger M., I can't disagree with you. But the Cowboys think he's a big name. Cowboys think Mozzie Smith is a big name. First-round draft pick. They think Mozzie Smith is a big name. And they think the only thing that has been holding Mozzie Smith back. You remember what Dan Quinn did to him? Made him lose 30-something pounds. He had to get himself back together. Got up under Mike Zimmer. We saw some flashes. The Cowboys are saying, no, Mozzie Smith is a big name. They plan on Mozzie being a big name. I'm going to tell you someone else. We might not agree with the Cowboys. They are hoping that Tyler Guyton is a big name. They're hoping that Tyler Guyton is going to be a big name. He's not a big name now, but they put a first-rounder on him. They think he's going to be a big name. The Cowboys, I'm telling you, they're thinking different. Orlando had not. I agree with you. They want big production, not big names. Because in the grand scheme of things, Orlando, we have had big production. We've had big production. But but our problem is, and let me reverse that. We've had the big names. We've had the big production, but we don't get it in the playoffs. We get to the playoffs, our whole mindset changes. Dak Prescott a bust. We got to get out of that mentality. We have to get out of that mentality. If we don't get out of that mentality, we're going to be the same team. Big C, we need quarterback depth. They're going to, they say, draft a quarterback. But I'm going to keep my eye on this. If Trey Lance is not picked up by somebody, man, the Cowboys like this dude. They like Trey Lance. And Trey Lance looked better towards the end. They like Trey Lance. I would not be surprised if the Cowboys bought Trey Lance back. If Trey Lance don't get picked up, Trey Lance will get brought back. And if you're the Cowboys love his skill set. The Cowboys think if we can keep developing Trey Lance, we can win with him. They like his skill set. And I think that's what they'll be trying to do if they get him back. Ken Charles said better than 7-10, but are really better today without J. Lou, Zach Martin, Rico, Kendricks, B. Cooks, and Overshown. Now, Overshown was already a problem. Brandon Cooks, we never used him right. So Brandon Cooks is not going to be a factor on this team. We got Jonathan Mingo. We got to see what he is. Rico Dowdle, good running back. I believe the Cowboys are seeing it in the same way that I saw it. Good, but not explosive enough. And I think that's one of the reasons why they let him go. The Williams kid, he's a part of the plan. He's a part of the plan, and they're not concerned about him being the number one or the number two. Zach Martin, we got better without Zach Martin. Now, that's not because Zach Martin, that's not the old Zach Martin. Zach Martin came into this season playing injured. And we unequivocally know it now. He was playing injured. The offensive line got better, not because Zach Martin was bad. The line got better because Zach Martin was injured, and Zach Martin was getting beat more than he ever had in his entire life. And that's one of the reasons why Zach Martin stepped away from the game. I salute Zach Martin because the dude was so good. If you don't think Zach Martin could have kept playing, shoot. Zach Martin at 80% is better than probably 70% of the linemen in this league. But Zach Martin refused. He was not going out like that. Zach Martin was not going to go out like Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith can't finish a season, always hurt during the season, battling injuries. You don't know if you're going to have him a game or not have him a game. Man, Zach said he wasn't going out like that, and I salute Zach. Zach said, my standards are too high for this. And so Zach decided to leave. So we saw that the line improved, not because Zach Martin was bad, but because Zach Martin was playing injured. So we already know where we are without Zach Martin. And so now, we ain't going to front. Jordan Lewis is going to be a blow. Yeah, Jordan Lewis is going to be a blow. I thought he was the best defensive back on the team. And I mean that because Deron Bland didn't play a full season. Trayvon Diggs didn't play a full season. And all the other cornerbacks, it's like every time they came in, they blowing out a knee or something. That dude, J. Lou, is a dog. He is. He's a dog. Intelligent. Yes. Sign the kicker, man. Sign this dude, Brandon Aubrey. Because I'm telling you, I just don't see Brandon Aubrey kicking for the Cowboys for $1 million. That's crazy work to me. Kick again for $1 million? Man, I wouldn't do it. The Cowboys should be proactive. Todd Francis is agent. Man, you better be proactive. And he's older too. Brandon Aubrey isn't young, guys. Brandon Aubrey is old. I shouldn't say old. He's older. Late 20s. Older. He needs the bag. Let me see. Brandon Aubrey, I think he's 29? He's 29 years old. He is 29 years old. Guess what? He has a birthday March the 14th. Brandon Aubrey is going to be 30 years of age. Man, I'm telling you, Cowboys are playing with fire with Brandon Aubrey. I'd go ahead and sign this dude. I would. He says Wilson needs to reach out to his realtor. That Bell signing said it all. Oh, man. Yes, sir. One of them, for sure. And you're right. It's probably Wilson. Yeah, I'd be reaching out to the realtor too. Ron, yes, a hurt Dak was the result of an inadequate offensive line, and I think they're trying to definitely fix that up. Roger M., they've been wrong for 30 years, but I haven't seen them doing it like this. Now, y'all tell me the last coaching staff the Cowboys had that made you say, we got a good coaching staff. Because the last one I can remember is Jimmy Johnson. I don't remember anyone else. Even with the Bill Parcells, the Mike McCarthy's, I never looked at their coaching staffs and said, we can win. Yeah, ice cold. Cowboys want the Super Bowl. The Joneses are the question. Yep. And their coaches definitely want the Super Bowl. I believe their coaches are hungry. And I love it. Marty said he went and won for his father. Marty wants to do what his dad never did. Shell shot. Winning more than 7 games is a low bar. Yeah, I believe the Cowboys could have won 10. I do. Yes, sir. Big C from Tennessee. Hit that like button. I agree with you. Robert Simmons. We could be 10-7. I believe it. I believe 10-7 was the mark we could have hit. We could have hit 10-7. Roger M. Hey, let's just keep watching. Just keep watching. I think the Cowboys are going to be fine. Big Pat, what's going on with you? He said they gave away 3 games. Yes, sir. And I believe had they start running the ball earlier, I think they would have won more games too. They waited too late to start running the ball. We have an old GM and he loves his helicopter more than the Cowboys. Well, the problem is we don't have that full-time GM. We need a full-time GM. Of course, we're not going to get it, but that's what we need. D Block, I'm tired of that too. And D Block, I'll be honest with you. 12-4 is not impressive no more. 12-4 is not an impressive number for the Cowboys anymore. Even if they won 13 games in a season, D Block, I wouldn't be impressed. The only thing that's going to impress me going forward with the Cowboys, playoff wins. And I think they have the same, I know they have the same thought process. Dak Prescott already knows. Let me tell you something about Dak Prescott. I haven't talked to him personally. But Dak Prescott, if you think Dak Prescott wants to go down in history as the highest paid player in history to not win a Super Bowl, who wants that stat? Who wants that stat? Man, when you get that money, you want to cash in and say, and I won a Super Bowl too. And I won Super Bowls. Man, you don't want cats running around talking about, oh, man, we spent money on this dude. He was the highest paid player and didn't win a Super Bowl. No. Dude wants to win. Regular season wins for the Dallas Cowboys are no longer impressive to me. They're no longer impressive because why? We know how good, whether we like it or hate it. We've done this with Dak Prescott. It's not impressive. It's got to be playoffs now. It's the same thing with Lamar Jackson. It's the same thing with Josh Allen. With those guys, regular season games are no longer impressive. Josh Allen, okay, look how many games you won. Same result. You got to a second AFC championship game for a change. That's a little bit different. Pretty much same result. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, same result. No, the only thing that's impressive going forward for Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, multiple playoff wins and Super Bowls. I don't think Jalen Hurts is better than neither one of those quarterbacks. But you know what Jalen Hurts can say? 2 Super Bowls, 1-1. And at the end of the day, y'all, let me tell you something about history. Right now in history, we're saying, yeah, people's talking about Jalen Hurts not top 5. When history is all said and done on Jalen Hurts, nobody's going to remember these arguments we're making. They're not going to remember. All they're going to look at and say is Jalen Hurts is, at the end of the day, what's his record? Super Bowls, wins. That's all they're going to be looking at. That's all they're going to be looking at. And at the end of the day, no one's looking at the paychecks you made. All they want to know is, did you win? Dak has won. More than most. Dak is one. Dak's got to get those playoffs and Super Bowls now. He's got to get them. He's got to get them. And I believe they're trying to get them. So, again, D-Block, there is nothing the Cowboys can do in the regular season that would impress me. I'm just being honest. 13 games. You know why it won't impress me? We've seen it. Dak got 13 in this rookie season. I just don't think we understand how much we've actually won with Dak Prescott. 13 wins, seen it. 12 wins, 3 times seen it. Playoff win against Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, seen it. Divisional, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl. Only thing that's going to impress me. We've seen it all. We've seen it all. We know how good Dak Prescott is. We've seen it. Superman 601, appreciate that super chat. I agree with you. He is still relevant. Problem is, he's gotten a reputation as of late. They put a reputation out on Amari Cooper. They have. It's the only thing that makes sense of why he's still on the board. Man, it's an embarrassment for this man to still be on the board. It is. Bottom line, Amari Cooper, man, I bet this dude is all in his feelings about this. And I bet you Keenan Allen is tripping on the fact that he's, man, I'm not on the board. I mean, I'm still on the board. No one's picked me up. Man, I'm telling you. But again, the Cowboys have picked up 2 former first-round picks. And let me see here. Let me look up something else. Let me see. Because this dude, Matty Dubs, man, Matty Dubs, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Matty Dubs. Man, this dude gets on these players so quick. It's crazy, man. Let me see here. He gets on these players quick with this film. All right, let's see what he got. Man, yeah, he already got it. Matty Dubs put together film quicker than anybody ever seen. All right, we're gonna go and we're gonna go look at Matty Dubs while we're waiting on any news from the Cowboys. Let's go to Matty Dubs. Shout out to Matty Dubs. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to him. I'm gonna throw his channel down in the link again. I'm going to throw the video down in the link. You can go there and subscribe to him. He's got film on this dude. He's already breaking down tape on him. It's only 4 minutes. We'll probably watch half of it. But let's see what he's saying about Peyton Turner. And again, y'all always remember, one man's trash is one man's treasure.
Dallas Cowboys have just added another very interesting player, a former first-round pick in Peyton Turner, formerly of the New Orleans Saints, but now is on his way to Dallas to be the newest member of the Cowboys. And in this video, what I wanted to do was break down some of his film and show you who he is, what he adds, and why I think this could potentially be a good addition here for the Dallas Cowboys going into next season. Now, the first thing I want to tell you guys before we jump into the film is make sure you guys comment down below who do you think that they should target next or what position group. Now, I actually really like this signing due to the potential of it, right? Now, last season, he actually ranked 39th among 211 edge rushers when it came to rushing the quarterback in about 335 snaps. Now, just look at this first play, for example. He's going to get a one-on-one with the left tackle, and watch how he gets low, has great body control once he gets off the edge, and then gets a sack, forces the fumble, his teammate picks it up. This is a guy that I could see coming into Dallas and being a day one player. It looks like DeMarcus Lawrence may not be coming back. They already added a guy like Solomon Thomas who can kind of play in a lot of different spots. And now Peyton Turner can come off the edge pretty much right away. Now, before we dive into even more film on Peyton Turner and what he adds to this team, I need you guys to do me a big favor. Hit the like button if you want me to cover the Dallas Cowboys more with all the signings, trades, anything that happens. If you want film analysis, I got you guys covered. hit the like button and join the family if you haven't already done so. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and let's dive back into some more film. So I said that he's a good rusher of the quarterback. Now, one thing about him is he's actually very bad in run defense. Now, on this play, you might think otherwise. Does a good job block shedding, getting off the block, and ultimately making a tackle here, right? But over the entirety of the season, he was not consistent at all, ranking 201 out of 211 in run defense grade. So you're getting a guy who's absolutely terrible, okay? And I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm not going to sit here and be sunshine and rainbows about this dude going to the Cowboys. No, listen, I love what he can do as a pass rusher, but Lord have mercy, they need to get some guys who can stop the run, because last year they were 28th in the NFL in terms of yards allowed per carry. That cannot happen this year. And I'm sorry, Peyton Turner is not that type of player, but he is a very good rusher of the quarterback. Now, I get it, right? One thing I preach on this channel is the most important thing in football, right? There's two things. One, protecting your quarterback, but two, getting to the opposing quarterback. And when you have a guy like Peyton Turner who can get to the quarterback when he's playing, when he's on the football field, he does a good job. I mean, right here, kind of gets lucky, I guess you could say, right? Because this right tackle slips on his right guard's foot, ultimately gives him a free lane to the quarterback, forces another fumble. It is what it is, right? It happens in the NFL. You need to be able to take advantage of those mistakes. So I like the fact that they're going after pass rushers, guys that can really help get to the quarterback. But at some point in time, you're going to have to get guys that can stop the run, because the game is won in the trenches. And if you can't stop the run, teams become more versatile. The opposing team is going to become more dynamic. And when they can run, then they can pass. And if they can do both, they're pretty much unstoppable. So stopping the run is, something that a lot of teams like to do. And I feel like the Cowboys need to prioritize it a little bit more. Do I like this signing for them? Yes. Do I think they need to continue to build the trenches up front? Definitely. So I'm going to give this a B grade. I don't mind it. I like the player. I like the potential. Only 26 years old. I believe he's 6'6", 270 pounds, and was graded as a first-round player just a couple of years ago. So let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Join the family, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house.
Matty Dubs gave us that quick breakdown there. So he didn't sugarcoat it. He's not a good run stopper. But again, he's a rotational piece. What you're getting him in the game for is pass rushing. The Cowboys, I think they're going to try to address this in the draft also. But again, yeah, if you're looking for a pass rusher, he's saying he thinks he's a good pass rusher, and he's ranked pretty good as a pass rusher. But yeah, it's going to be. I think he's going to be great with the Cowboys. I do. I think he's going to be absolutely great with the Cowboys, because again, the Cowboys are saying something. We're going to trust our coaches. That's what they're saying. Robert Sigler, appreciate you. He said, love your work. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. The Cowboys, I'm telling this guys, they're saying they're confident in their coaching. They're confident. Ultra Cowboys said Cowboys, 4 top of the market players they need to sign: Parsons, Bland, Smith, and Aubrey. Yeah. Parsons, no-brainer. Bland, for sure. Tyler Smith. Man, I'm telling you, Ultra Cowboy, if I was the Dallas Cowboys, this is when you want to sign him. Why let him come back and have a fabulous year? Sign him now. Sign him now while the value is low. Because that joker come back and have a crazy season, the price only goes up. And I don't understand the whole thing with Brandon Aubrey. They should already sign this dude for sure. Vaughn Hopkins, what's going on? He said we need bodies. Yes, sir. Let me go down a little bit more. The Chiefs were wrong. Yeah, you're right about it. They were wrong for 50 years. Jim Parvin, what's going on? He said, well. Think that the Cowboys have a chance to go to the NFC Championship game, much less the Super Bowl, is the same as pissing into the wind and not getting any on your feet. Now, Jim Parvin, I've been consistent on this. This is the building season. The Cowboys got to get all these players filled in. Next year is going to be the season. If you're a betting man, that's the season you need to start betting on. That is the season you need to start betting on. D Snook, he said, doesn't matter when you lose your starting quarterback. There it is. That is the only, and really that's whenever the quarterback gets hurt, we don't go to the playoffs. Nisi, she said it's refreshing to see the entire coaching staff is hungry. That's where I am. And I think that's what the Cowboys are. The Cowboys are saying something. Man, we're confident in our coaches. One thing I can tell you about Mike McCarthy, they were not confident in Mike McCarthy. And one of the reasons why I knew they were not confident in Mike McCarthy, y'all might remember we were talking about it. Nisi, you remember we were talking about it? They were bragging on Mike McCarthy way too much. I knew then when they started bragging on Mike McCarthy, because at first I was like, there's no way they letting go of Mike McCarthy. Man, they got to around game 9 or 10, and the way they were bragging on Mike McCarthy, I said, no way. I said, no way they're keeping Mike McCarthy. No way. You don't brag on a guy like that and don't extend him. The Cowboys could have extended him during the season. I said then there was no way they were bragging on him like that and not extending him. But this coaching staff, they all seem hungry. They all want a bowl game. They all seem like they got something to prove. They all seem like they got something to prove. I absolutely love it. Poobie D, I wish they would. Go ahead and make Will McClay the GM. I wish they would, but I can tell you this, they paid him. I think they paid him GM money. All Williams, the problem is Stephen Jones and Will McClay, we like our guys, yeah. Yeah, we do fall in love with our guys a lot of times. We get a little guilty of that. But again, they've let some of them go too. I mean, this year they've let some of them go. I'm going to be shocked if they bring back DeMarcus Lawrence, unless they bring him back super cheap. Rico Dowdle don't look like he coming back. I mean, the Cowboys, they're changing a few things up, but we'll see. Purple Soul, y'all just be patient. You watch what I tell you. The Cowboys are putting together depth. That's what we need. They're putting together depth. And we got to watch the whole picture unfold. The Cowboys are banking on the draft. They're using free agency for depth. Now, I do think, and I'm telling you, the Cowboys went for an impact player. I know this is in the win for us right now. They went for Drake Greenlaw. They lost. They couldn't beat the Denver Broncos. They just couldn't beat them. They couldn't beat the Denver Broncos on him. And because they couldn't beat the Denver Broncos, they didn't get him. It's the bottom line. They didn't get him. Vaughn Hopkins, yeah, we still good. He said Dak is the new GOAT. Boy, you about to start a fire up in here. Ken Charles. This is why I'm saying, Ken Charles, the Cowboys can't impress me no more with regular season wins. I've seen it all with the Cowboys on regular season wins. I know exactly what Dak Prescott can do in the regular season. Dak Prescott has gotten us 13, 12, 12, 12. We know what this dude, Dak is a monster and people don't even realize it. The problem we keep doing, and the thing we keep doing wrong to Dak Prescott, we keep doing to him what we never did to our other two Super Bowl quarterbacks. We never told Roger Staubach, it's you or nothing. We gave him a line. We gave him a defense. Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, Tony Hill. I mean, it goes on and on and on with Roger Staubach. I mean, he had a great team. We didn't do this to Troy Aikman. When it was all on Troy Aikman was throwing interceptions left and right. When they gave Troy Aikman a run game, when they gave him an offensive line, when they gave him Alvin Harper, when they gave him a defensive line, when they gave him a Charles Haley, gave him a Deion Sanders, when they gave Troy Aikman players, they never put him in a position of, hey, Troy, it's all you. You or nothing. They never put Troy Aikman in that position. They did not do it. You play different, guys, and I'm telling you, you play different when when you have confidence in your team. You also play different when you go into games and people are saying stupid stuff like, it's Dak or nothing. It's Dak or nothing. When teams can come at you and say, hey, all we got to do is take away CeeDee Lamb and we'll beat the Dallas Cowboys because Dak Prescott don't have another wide receiver. Oh, it's easy to run on them because they don't have linebackers. Man, you can't win like that. Your quarterback can beat teams in the regular season, not in the playoffs. Deficiencies stand out like a sore thumb in the playoffs. If you can't stop the run, everybody know it in the playoffs. Because the first team you face, you know why they're going to do it? Because they're good enough to be in the playoffs. You know what they're going to do if they know you can't stop the run? Run the ball. If they know you only got one wide receiver, double coverage, underneath, over the top. Whatever your deficiency is, they attack that in the playoffs. And the teams with the least amount of deficiencies and the most amount of health, they typically win. They typically win. And you don't have to be the best of the best to win the Super Bowls. You don't. You need to be the best team. And the Eagles put together the best team this year. Again, Detroit doesn't get hurt. We're having a different conversation. I believe that the Detroit Lions were the best team in the NFC before they got hurt. They were the best team in the NFC, and it looked like nobody was stopping them until their defense got decimated. And I told y'all before, man. I told you before. You need coaching. You need a good team. And the two other things that people don't put into the equation, health and luck. If you don't have health and luck, you're not winning. You need those two also. You need health and luck. You need health and luck. You look at championship teams, even when they're good. Even when they're good, they win. I mean, even when they're good. You'll see teams in their path that were hurt that changed the whole thing. Ultra Cowboy, he's making the point. Hurts and Dilfer. Now, I'm not gonna knock Jalen Hurts. He's better than Trent Dilfer. But again, boy, I'm telling you, that team for the Philadelphia Eagles need to be studied. How in the world did they put a team together like that in free agency? Man, that's a 92, 93 Cowboys, Eddie DeBartolo, San Francisco 49ers type team. Boy, they put together a plethora of free agents, veterans. I mean, perfect storm. Perfect storm, especially what happened with the Detroit Lions. They hit it. They hit it at the right time. Top Gunner said, I think we could have been 10-7 too, but we got to be realistic here. We're winning the Super Bowl without injuries. Were we winning the Super Bowl without injuries? No. 10-7 wouldn't have got it done. Better talent and coaching is needed, period. Now, you hit it right on the head, Top Gunner. Well, we got the coaches. They believe we got the coaches. That's what they're saying. We have the coaches. So we're going to bring in these former first-round draft picks. And they're saying we're going to be able to get something out of them that nobody else was able to do. Holloland Productions. Now, don't get me wrong, Holloland. Yes, the regular season matters. Not saying it doesn't matter. And you're exactly right. It matters who you beat also in those games also, simply because some of those teams becomes teams you face in the playoffs. I'm not saying it don't matter from that perspective. I'm saying it doesn't matter because I've already seen the Cowboys win 12 wins. I've already seen them win 13. And if they did it again, I wouldn't be, don't get me wrong, I'd be happy, but I wouldn't be impressed. And the reason why I wouldn't be impressed, I want you to think about this. It's like a man. It's like a father that takes care of his kids. And somebody go, man, he really takes care of his kids. So do we expect anything else? I mean, do we expect anything else? Talking about Dak Prescott winning 10 games. I mean, talking about Dak Prescott winning 12 and 13 games. I've actually become to expect, I literally expect Dak Prescott to win 12 games. Rolling out the bed. If Dak Prescott is healthy, I literally just think the Cowboys automatically win 12 games. That's what I think. I think automatically they win 12 games. Because Dak Prescott is that good, even if we don't say he is, he's that good. And the reason why I can say he's that good is because we've seen him do it. So, again, yeah, don't get me wrong. The regular season wins absolutely matter. because you got to win those to get to the playoffs. But what I'm saying for me, I will not be impressed because I expect it. It's less impressive when you expect it. It's not that it's not impressive. It's just less impressive. You go, okay, we've been here and done this. So can we make the next jump? Can we get the 12 wins? I mean, can we get the playoff wins? As Tekka said, Micah and Lamb have to step up in the playoffs. Man, let me tell you something. They have been some of the biggest disappointments in the playoffs. They have been. They've been some of the biggest disappointments. Micah and Lamb. CeeDee Lamb. We watched him in that Green Bay game melt down. And he don't understand something. When he melts down, he causes other people to melt down. The one thing if I was a player, the one thing I would never do, I would never challenge my quarterback. I would never challenge my quarterback. Never. Michael Irvin will tell you this. They never challenged Troy Aikman. They did not do it. It's not that they couldn't do it. You don't do that stuff. Because the moment you challenge your quarterback, it makes other people lose confidence in him. No, you don't challenge your quarterback. Now, if you want to talk to him, you talk to him. Talk to him like you got some sense. You go on the sidelines and you say, okay, here's where I was, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I see what I did wrong. Okay, you missed me right there. Okay, we'll do it better on the next go-round. You don't challenge your quarterback. You don't do those types of things. No, he's the leader of your team. There is nobody that holds the ball in their hands more than the quarterback. You always want him to be ultra confident, and you tell him at every return, I got your back. I got your back. Let's roll. I got you. Let's do this. I got you. You always keep that going with it. You have to. Because I'm telling you, man, there's nothing worse than being at war and people in your own foxhole are losing their mind and melting down. No. We've seen CeeDee Lamb melt down in the playoffs. We've watched Micah Parsons. Chanel gave us the perfect stat, 1 sack, and I was pointing it out all the season. He disappears in the biggest games. 1 sack in the playoffs in 4 games. I understand all this stuff about the most double teams. But again, some of that is attributed to the fact he's the best player on the defense, and most teams just say, how do you stop the Cowboys defense? Double Micah Parsons. Double Micah Parsons. Same thing they say about our offense. How do you stop Dak Prescott? Double CeeDee Lamb. Why do you double CeeDee Lamb to stop Dak Prescott? Well, name the next receiver he's going to throw to. Jalen Tolbert had the most touchdowns on the team, but very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. Someone made a great observation about him the other day. He doesn't run to the ball. He waits on the ball to come to him. He's not aggressive as it applies to attacking the ball. And this is why right now he's not a number 2. He's probably a number 3. He's probably a number 3. Bottom line. He's a number 3, and we're going to even see on that. What is he? But again, for me, Jalen Tolbert. Someone mentioned we fall in love with players. Jalen Tolbert, to me, is getting a chance on this team because they drafted him number 3. Jalen Tolbert might have already been cut on some other teams. Colston Loveland for the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL draft. Colston Loveland. Who is this kid? All right, I'm not as big. You got to excuse me. I'm not as big on the college stuff. I will be this coming year, though. Some of y'all, man, I'm telling you, some of y'all's knowledge on this doggone college football stuff is just mind-blowing to me. Oh, okay. He is. Hold on a second. He's a tight end, right? Man, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Kansas City Chiefs from Langston, Australia. I'm struggling on another tight end from Michigan. I'm struggling on another tight end from, and not to mention, man, hey, Schoonmaker started trying to show some flashes towards the end. We gotta see what Schoonmaker is. We'll see what he is. Luis Ortiz, he said you're getting depth before the draft. Solomon can be either offensive tackle or defensive tackle. He played both. So if Jones don't work out, you still have an out. Grab another in the draft, O-line, and has depth. I've seen awesome in others. Yes, sir, Lewis. I love a lot of your analysis. I like it. B-Dog Twitter, what's up? Cowboys signing dudes to 1- and 2-year contracts, which says they don't even believe in them as anything more than worthy of a look type players. Well, B-Dog, I also think it's telling us something else. They want to keep developing the young guys. They're bringing these guys in for the depth. They want to keep developing the young guys. The Cowboys want to be one of the youngest teams in the league. And they're going to be one of the youngest teams in the league pretty soon. So I see exactly what they're doing with these players. They want to keep getting the younger players. Because Jerry needs an interpreter. B-Dog, he already told us. The Dallas Cowboys are expecting to bring in players, rookies, to immediately contribute. Those top 3, 1, 2, and 3, first 3 rounds, they're expecting them to contribute. They're literally expecting them to come right in and contribute. They are. And they're using these guys for depth, rotation, all of those things. No, they're telling us they're going to build through the draft because that's exactly, Jerry said if everything goes right in the draft, not to mention they have players, again, coming out of rehab, going to get better. The Cowboys are saying something. No, we're bringing in these guys for depth. And remember, I told you, you're not going to like what I'm telling you. The Cowboys already feel like they have big names. Not only do they feel like they have big names, again, let me show us this again. I know we're not liking what I'm telling us, but I'm just telling you, being around the Cowboys, being a Cowboys fan as long as I've been, and some of y'all been a Cowboys fan a long time too, we kind of know how Jerry Jones talks. Jerry Jones is going to tell us because they already told us what they're going to tell us. This money they freed up with Dak Prescott was as much about getting some free agents as it was about re-signing your own. The Cowboys wanted to re-sign their own. Let's look at this again. Look at what they did. C.J. Godwin, Brock Hoffman, those are lower deals. Tyrus Wheat, Wanye Thomas, Marquise Bell, somewhat of a bigger signing. Don't forget, they're going to throw in Oso Digizua. Oso Digizua was a big signing. The Cowboys are going to include all of that when they finally sit down and all the smoke settles after free agency. I'm sorry, Oso Digizua was down there. This is what they're going to talk about. They're going to mention all of this. That money was as much about signing our own as it was about signing free agents. But again, Cowboys fans, I'm pleading with you. Be patient. Free agency hasn't started. This is the tampering period. It's going to get really heated up tomorrow. There will be more players released out there on the market. We'll see what the Cowboys do. I'm telling y'all, the Cowboys aren't leaving this free agency. I do not believe they're leaving this free agency without at least 1 to 2 medium, what I would call medium signings. They're not going to leave it without 1 or 2. Right now, remember what I said? It was going to be a big fish. They missed it. I thought there was going to be a big fish, 2 mediums, and then some small fish. We're watching some of the small fish. They're the depth. They're filling up the pool. Now they're going to be after probably their 2 big or the 2 medium fish. I think they missed the one they wanted on the big fish. It was Dre Greenlaw. Because the Cowboys need linebacker help. They thought Greenlaw was going to be it. I'm just telling us, guys. I know we don't like it. They missed it. They missed Greenlaw. They did. The Broncos just outspent them. There's no other way to slice it. They just outbid them for it. Skeptical fan. Nobody on the Cowboys team should be complacent. Boy, I agree with you on that. Appreciate that super chat. They should all be hungry, man. And I'm going to tell you this. For as much as I criticize Michael Parsons about talking, I'm glad he hasn't been talking as much. I feel like that he's hungry. Now, don't get me wrong. He wants to be a huge personality with all this podcast and stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. But I understand the time, and I don't think that's an excuse, but it is the truth. We're in a different time. And again, Michael Parsons is really taking advantage of the fact he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Because I'm telling you right now, if Michael Parsons didn't play for the Dallas Cowboys, nobody would care about that podcast. That's the part I don't even, and I think Michael Parsons I think he does understand this. That doggone podcast is nothing without him being a Dallas Cowboy. Yeah, other players do have podcasts. Who cares? They don't play for the Cowboys. Who cares? No one's interested in that stuff. But even with all that being said, unless Michael Parsons is a huge faker, and I don't believe him to be a faker on this particular issue, he wants to win. And Jerry Jones missed a golden opportunity. This man told Jerry Jones, I don't have to be the highest paid player. Now, again, I'm saying this is semantics to me, but I understand what he was saying. If he comes in below Nick Bosa, with the state tax and all the other stuff that you deal with in those other states, he still would have been good. They could have probably came out paying Michael Parsons somewhere around $31 million. But because of Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, the Cowboys are now going to pay $40 million, $40+ million. And man, I'll be shocked. Maybe Michael Parsons comes out and says, I'll still take less. That'll blow my mind. That'll absolutely blow my mind. But he wants to win. I think Dak Prescott wants to win extremely bad. I'm telling y'all, and maybe I'm imposing my own thoughts on Dak Prescott. But I'm just telling you, for me, it would be embarrassing to me. I mean, I say it would be embarrassing. I mean, I would enjoy spending all the money while being embarrassed. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and act like the money is not good. But the money for me, just in my thought process, would make me want the chip even badder, man. I would want it even badder. I would want it even badder, man, because to be the highest paid and not win a Super Bowl, you're going to catch a lot of flack. I mean, you can say, people can say anything they want to about Money Mayweather, for example. I know a lot of people don't like Money Mayweather. You can't say he's not a champion. That joker wins. And some people say he didn't, might not have fought some of the best fighters. But when he does fight, he wins. Just saying. Army Mom Heather C. He gets pouty and checks out. Once they get in his head, he checks out. He does. 12 games and losing the playoffs, he just cracks up. I think they let the pressure mount too much on him. Michael loses interest after we get behind in big games. Oh, Army Mom Heather. Ooh, Army Mom Heather. Boy, you said something right there, sister. I can believe it. I can believe it. Hey, Micaiah, let me tell you something. I appreciate that comment. We did the same thing to Tony Romo. We did the same thing to Tony Romo. We put way too much on Tony Romo. We did. We put too much on Tony Romo. Now, we talk about this offensive line the Cowboys had. Tony Romo enjoyed most of that line. And Tony Romo still got hurt behind that line. I'm just telling you, we did the same thing to Tony Romo. It was like we never had the complete teams around Tony Romo either. You think about, it's ironic, isn't it? The first playoff loss that Dak Prescott experiences is Green Bay. Well, let's just think about 2 years before that. The Cowboys had played Green Bay, and that was the catch game. We do realize that in that catch game, Aaron Rodgers was beating us on one leg. We do remember that, right? Our defense couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers. We couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers. The man had some kind of calf strain, calf tear. He was out there on one leg, wheeling and dealing on us. And don't let me forget, DeMarco Murray did have a critical fumble, I think, somewhere up in the second quarter. He had a critical fumble that would have really put us ahead of the Green Bay Packers, and we might not would have had to worry about half the stuff that we worried about. But he had a crucial fumble. But again, we did the same thing to Tony Romo. Just put way too much on Tony Romo. Man, too much. And I'm telling y'all, go back and check the tape. We never did that to Troy Aikman. We never did it to him. We never went in the game saying Troy Aikman a bust. We never went into a game like that. We were too bleeping good. We were too good to say that. We were too good to say Troy Aikman or nothing. No. When you played the Dallas Cowboys all the way to the water boy, you knew it was problems. We were problems down to the water boy in 92 and 93, man. I'm just telling you. The Cowboys were problems for teams, man. You couldn't make them one-dimensional. You could not do it. It was not possible. Even if you held Emmitt Smith below 100 yards, you know what the problem was? So now you had to deal with Michael Irvin. You had to deal with Alvin Harper, Troy Aikman. You had to deal with that massive offensive line. And once they got you inside the 10, I don't care if you held Emmitt Smith to below 10 yards, crazy in the red zone. And then when you got on the other side of the ball, guess what happened? We had a top 10 or either number one defense. Man, I'm telling us we don't understand. We didn't do this stuff. We did not do this to Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach. Troy Aikman had the privilege of playing with a number one defense. Name me a season that Dak Prescott and Tony Romo played unequivocally with a totally dominant number one defense. Tell me. No, they didn't do it. Calvin Richard, appreciate that super chat. He says now maybe Turpin will get more reps. You know the Cowboys, if you pay them, you got to play them. Calvin, you know what Stephen Jones said? Money stays on the field. That joker paid CeeDee Lamb. He was expecting 12 to 15 touches. Oh, I'm sorry, 12 to 15 targets. That's Stephen Jones. So Kevontae Turpin, yeah, better get ready. He's going to get that work now. Which I think they should have been giving him that work. I think he could have got more yards. I mean, you look at Kevontae Turpin, as fast as Kevontae Turpin is. Ed Warder brought up a great let me show you this, what he said about let me show you Kevontae Turpin's stats. Kevontae Turpin's stats for as little as he played wide receiver. This dude is dangerous, man. 31 receptions, 420 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13.5 yards per catch. Now, I tell you the mistake we make with Kevontae Turpin. Let us understand something. Kevontae Turpin is not a traditional wide receiver. And so the Cowboys do need to be careful with those deep routes and things of those nature. No, you need to get Kevontae Turpin in space and let him do damage. Let him do damage. That's how you work him. Front office, I like a comment you just made here. Again, Calvin Richard, appreciate that super chat. Front office, I like something you just said here. Norv Turner. Now, a lot of people don't realize something, front office. They brought in Norv Turner to help fix Troy Aikman. Norv Turner was an offensive guru back in the day, man. Stu was an offensive guru back in the day. He was nasty with it. He was absolute nasty with it. I'm telling us. We never ask, and we may not realize this. I know we don't like this. We never asked Troy Aikman to do what we asked Tony Romo to do, and what we asked Dak Prescott to do. We never asked Troy Aikman to do that. And the reason why we didn't answer is the team was too good. It's not that Troy Aikman was too good. The team was too good. I'm telling y'all, man, some of y'all, I'm pretty sure some of you are old enough to remember. Man, I'm telling you, boy, I don't know, man. I don't know if y'all can remember, but I'm telling y'all, that 92-93 team, I'm just telling you, I'll take them through history and wreck every team out there. That team was incredible. It was. It was incredible. This Philadelphia Eagle team we just watched, dismantle that team. It would dismantle that team. The 92-93 Cowboys would dismantle that team. Jalen Hurts wouldn't have had a chance. A running quarterback against Dallas's defense, that quarterback would have been, man, I'm telling you. They'd have red rummed that quarterback. Spell that backwards. I'm telling you. They'd have red rummed that quarterback. Man, I'm telling you, a running quarterback would not want to have seen that Dallas Cowboy defense. Man, a running quarterback, Darren Woodson would have tore the number off that quarterback. Man, he'd have never played. He wouldn't have played another down that game. That 92-93 team, I'm telling y'all, those two Super Bowls, we do not understand how good those teams were. We never asked Troy Aikman to do none of that stuff. He just didn't have to do it. Those teams, this is what the Cowboys are trying to do right now. They're trying to fix it, y'all. They're trying to fix it to where Dak Prescott, we don't need Dak Prescott to have some kind of heroics at the end of a game anymore. That's not the goal. And it shouldn't be the goal. Your goal is to annihilate every team you play. That's the goal. That's what I want to do. I want to annihilate. I'm telling you, man, people don't like the way, I'm telling you, people don't like some of my family. Hey, you don't like a competitive football game? No. I like a competitive football game when I'm watching your team. If your team is not called the Dallas Cowboys, and if you're not playing the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, I want your game to be competitive. Yep, sure do. I want your game to be competitive. But when you playing my team, I want them to destroy you. When you're playing the Dallas Cowboys, I want the Cowboys, if possible, I want them to blank you 40-0 by the third quarter. I don't want a competitive team. I don't want a competitive game. Some of y'all might be different. That's not where I'm from. I don't want competitive games when you playing my team. I want you to know you ain't got a chance. I want you to know up front, you don't have a chance. And it was the same thing with the 92-93 Cowboys. Most teams knew when they played the 92-93 Cowboys, there's no chance. They're just better than us. There's nothing we can do. They're better than us. So the only thing we can do is collect our paycheck, play to the best of our ability, and get beat. That's what most teams who played the 92-93 Cowboys understood. We never asked Troy Aikman to do none of this dumb stuff we want Dak Prescott to do. Hey, Dak, we want you against the Green Bay Packers. We know we don't have linebackers. We know we don't have a run game. We know we can't stop the run. But Dak Prescott, you the man. We're paying you $40-something million a year, Dak Prescott. We're going to give you one wide receiver. We know you only got one wide receiver. But again, because we're paying you the money, Dak, yeah, you're going to beat the Green Bay Packers because we're at home. No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Put a team around it. You put a team around him. Let me tell y'all something. For every Dak Prescott hater, you give me that team that the Philadelphia Eagles had, and Dak Prescott's the quarterback. Or you give me that team the Detroit Lions have with their defense fully healthy, and Dak Prescott's the quarterback. And if Dak Prescott in 3 years don't win a Super Bowl, I'll join you and tell you how bad he is. I'll join you. If you give Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts team, Jared Goff team fully healthy, you give Dak that team and he don't win, I'll join in with you. I'll show you every part of his game where he made mistakes and where he wasn't good enough. Give him that team. I'm telling you. Even with the Detroit Lions defense being hurt, It was a travesty what Jared Goff did on that team. I don't care what anyone says. You give Dak Prescott that Detroit Lions team, he still wins with a defense that's not good. Dak would have killed the Rams with that team. Man, the doggone Detroit Lions are loaded. Tell me when Dak's had a team like that. And they had a team like that one. Chris Guns, he said, hey, congratulations on 7,000. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Boy, Cowboys Nation been rocking with me hard. Appreciate all of y'all. Hey, Lewis, you and me the only ones that want Calais Campbell. you and me the only ones that want Calais Campbell because I said the same thing. I want the Cowboys to bring in Calais Campbell. Angie the Rebel Chicks. Angie, you know we talked about this. Angie hitting it right on the head. This was one of the biggest knocks on Mike McCarthy. He didn't unite the team. He didn't galvanize the team. And the thing that I'm noticing about Brian Schottenheimer, he hasn't coached one game. And we are watching a team that seems to be galvanized. We're already watching a team that's galvanized. I love it. And it's only going to get better when they get on the field. Gary McKnight, what's going on, my man? He said, it does give me some optimism thinking that the coaching staff, love the staff, have input in free agency this offseason. They know they want and need shopping for the groceries. They're shopping for the groceries. They are. I think they got some input. Cowboy Star, hey, he's already changed the culture. Now, again, this is why I'm telling us, Cowboy Star, we gotta trust this process. Now we got to let them gel together as a coaching staff. They got to get on the field and start coaching the players. That's what we're going to see in the spring mini camps, I guess they are. We're going to see all of that start to come together. Then we're going to get in training camp. And this is why the Cowboys, I'm not going to be mad if they don't sign Michael Parsons before the draft because I don't think they're trading him anyway. And we don't need to sign Michael Parsons to sign more free agents. You're actually going to free up more cap space. You would free up, another $20 million if you go ahead and sign Michael Parsons now? The Cowboys don't feel like they have to do that right now. I do believe they signed him before the draft. I just do not believe, at this point especially, the Cowboys are not trading Michael Parsons. I want them to get Michael Parsons, get all that nonsense out of the way. So that when we get the draft done, we get to hit the ground running. You have everybody in camp, everybody signed. There's no drama. All we're focusing on is learning the game plan. That's all we need. And if we get that, make sure everyone's healthy, we're going to be good to go. But again, the Cowboys could be a year early. We're going to go through that schedule here later on because I'm laughing because there's already people saying that the Cowboys won't win 8 games. I don't know what they're looking at. Yeah, Cowboys not going to win 8 games. Let me tell y'all something. Book it. I'm telling you. You're going to call me a prophet before it's over. The Washington Commanders are going to get all those players. They got all these players they have. And we still going to handle up on them at least one game. I guarantee you we're still going to handle up on them one game. And if you press us, we might even get 2. We're going to handle up on them. We handled up on them this year without Dak Prescott and almost did it twice with Trey Lance. And Jaden Daniels was on the field both times. We'll still handle up on them. Philadelphia Eagles, Dak owns filthy. We're still going to handle up on Philadelphia at least one game. I will not, and if they press us, we'll get 2 on them too. New York Giants, we still going to handle up on them no matter what they do. We're going to get 2 games on them. Again, the Cowboys are going to be ultra competitive more than anyone thinks. And then what the media is going to do, the media going to jump on the bandwagon, and then they're going to put expectations on the Cowboys. And then if the Cowboys don't meet their expectations, they're going to tear them down again. This is how people work. They build you up to tear you down. That's why if you don't build me, you can't kill me. Don't let men build you up. Don't let men build you up. And I love what the Cowboys are doing. You get you a coaching staff. You get your coaching right. You get everybody on the same page. You get the culture right. Stop letting the media build the expectations for you. Let the expectations be set inside the building, not outside the building. And the Cowboys let their expectations, even our fan base, We let our fan base allows the media to set the expectations for us. This is why we're looking at this free agency and we're going, ooh, it's bad. Why? Because we're looking at other folks' house. We're looking at what other folks are doing. Ooh, they're doing more than us. Well, why are they doing more than us? One, I know they do. I'm not going to argue that they don't want to win a Super Bowl. They do. But they're also doing some things because one of the teams they want to beat is us. And Dan Quinn, the one thing he cannot say, they went 12 wins last season. Guess which team they had problems with? We beat them in Washington, and we were about to beat them in Dallas, had it not been for a last-minute heroic throw. Not worried about these teams. And that's why I keep letting people tell me, yeah, man, we ain't going to barely win. We're going to win. Seven? No way. Not with Dak Prescott healthy. Not with another wide receiver like they know they're going to have after the draft. Not with the running back they're going to get after in the draft. Not with the line we're going to have by the time the season starts. And the defense, I'm fully confident. The Cowboys aren't done. The Cowboys aren't done. We just got to be patient. Cowboys are not done in this free agency. Recco Bullock, he said, man, you crazy if you think the Joneses know how to run a championship football team. Now, Recco, let me tell you something you might not be paying attention to. They're doing what they did in the 90s. We do realize that the person that built that championship team was Jimmy Johnson. So what Jerry and Steven are doing, they're letting Brian Schottenheimer and his staff, they're letting them have a lot of input in building this team. And Brian Schottenheimer, as crazy, and I'm not going to go crazy and say this is a championship coaching staff because we won't know until they get to the championship. But let me tell you what this dude has done. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to tell you why I appreciate Brian Schottenheimer. Because he's done something that you should do when you want to win championships. He's not only envisioned it. Listen to him talk. He's already envisioned it. He's already got a goal outside of the goal. He doesn't just want to win for the sake of winning and saying I'm a Super Bowl winning coach. He wants to win for the sake of his father. Again, boy, if anybody watched Marty Schottenheimer, boy, you want to talk about some heart-breaking losses. If I'm not mistaken, 200-plus playoff wins. No Super Bowls. This man had some of the most tragic losses. He watched that as a kid. If Marty Schottenheimer cried in the locker room, what do you think Marty Schottenheimer did when he came home? He saw all that. He saw all of that. Dad didn't live long enough to see this moment. Brian Schottenheimer has extra motivation, not only the chip to win, but the chip on his shoulder to get one for his father. I love when people have goals like that. There's an extra gear that clicks in their head when people think like that. On top of that, the thing that is so impressive to me, Brian Schottenheimer had his entire plan of what he was going to do when he became the head coach. Who does this? He had his whole plan wrote. This is why the plan, when him, Jerry, and Steven started talking, he wasn't just talking like someone, hey, come on in for this interview. So if we let you be the coach, tell us what you would do. Still start giving a full plan. The plan he already had that if he became a head coach, this is what he was going to do. All this coaching staff, have you noticed these positions? We don't even know what they are. They have given this man an extra coaching staff of what is this stuff? It's Brian Schottenheimer. I see in the Joneses what I saw in Jerry when he brought on Jimmy. Jerry believed in Jimmy. Point blank in the story. He believed in Jimmy, and because he believed in Jimmy, he trusted Jimmy to bring in his coaches. He trusted Jimmy on football moves. He trusted Jimmy. He trusted Jimmy to do his thing. The Joneses are trusting Brian Schottenheimer to do his thing. This is why I am so confident in what this team is going to achieve in Dak Prescott's last 4 years. You are about to see, if Dak Prescott, and I told my uncle this, and I tell him this all the time, this is what I know about Rain Dakota Prescott that nobody gives him credit for. If he's healthy, you're winning. If he's healthy, you're winning. Point blank in the story. You're winning. They were going to win this year. When they got to the soft part of that schedule, they knew if they could get to that part of that schedule and be 500, the Cowboys were going to win. They would have won with Dak Prescott, and he still would have had a winning season, would have still had 10, 11 wins. If Dak Prescott is healthy, this team is going to win. When I look at what Brian Schottenheimer did with one Russell Wilson, I'm fully confident that at this stage in his career, Dak is better than what Russell was then. They're going to win with Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer. I'm fully confident. If Dak stays healthy, and I think that Brian Schottenheimer is going to make a point to do everything he can do to keep Dak Prescott upright. This is why they're about to build a very potent run game. Dak Prescott isn't the runner that he used to be. So you got to build a potent run game, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to get Dak Prescott back to the play-action pass. That's what they did with Russell. They're going to get him back to the play-action pass. And they're going to get high-quality plays because the one thing I like about Brian Schottenheimer, he's not like Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy was West Coast, and I don't care what anyone says. Stellar's Toast West Coast offense, very generic version of it. I don't care what anyone says, I'm running it. That's not what Brian Schottenheimer does. Brian Schottenheimer looks at what's working in the league, and he acclimates it into his own plan. Now we realize Brian Schottenheimer gets a lot of the credit for what happened in 2023. That was Brian Schottenheimer telling Mike McCarthy, input this, input this, input this. You know, make it a little bit more modern. That was him. And y'all remember Russ? Let Russ cook? Well, Pete Carroll was actually trying to dial back Marty Schottenheimer. Pete Carroll don't mind winning 16, 13 games. Brian Schottenheimer was like, no, if we can do it, dial it up. If we see a weakness, if we smell blood, dial it up. They're going to be great with Brian Schottenheimer. I'm telling you. They're going to be great with Brian Schottenheimer. Going to be great. Nope, Rodney, I'm with you. You're exactly right. He couldn't call plays. It's terrible. He just couldn't call plays. Ken Charles, man, I'm telling you, man, Ken, they've been waiting on Calais Campbell to fall off a cliff, and he refused to fall. They've done everything they can do to push this man to the edge, and he just keeps coming back every single season playing well. Please, Dallas Cowboys, bring this man in. Bring this man in. Bring him in. My man Chanel, what's going on? Woo, boy, you just said it. That boy Mike McCarthy is a prehistoric dinosaur. Yes, sir. I'm in total agreement with you. Man, that dude's a prehistoric dinosaur. He was. Man, I'm telling you on this free agency, and I'm going to read some more of your comments. This free agency is crazy. So let's see when this was updated again. So we got the top players. So it was just updated 7:08. I'm hoping tomorrow. I'll be on twice again tomorrow, boy. I'm excited about tomorrow. I know the Bible says be anxious for nothing, but again, I'll be, man, I'm telling you, I think tomorrow is going to be exciting. The Cowboys threw a smoke bomb in the barn. They've kind of seen now like what's going to be left in the barn after the smoke clears. There are going to be some teams, and not just the Dallas Cowboys. There are going to be some teams. Somebody's about to get a steal on Amari Cooper. Somebody's about to get a steal on this guy. He will no longer be a double-digit $1 million player. Somebody's about to get a steal on Asante Samuel. Cowboys should bring in Asante Samuel to me. What do you have to lose with Asante Samuel? I would bring in Asante Samuel. The dude is only 25 years old. Bring him in. His dad was crazy with it. Bring him in. Bring him in. You got a coaching staff. You can teach him tackling. Bring him in. I want to see Asante. I would love to see Asante Samuel with the Cowboys. I don't know why they're keeping Hargrave on here. It looks like Hargrave is gone. Calais Campbell. I know some of y'all don't want Calais Campbell. Boy, he'd be a good insurance policy. He just keeps producing. Aziz, Chanel turned us on to this. I would love to see him brought in because I don't think the Cowboys, unless DeMarcus Lawrence is going to play dirt cheap, I think the Cowboys may be moving on from DeMarcus Lawrence. I would rather bring in Aziz than DeMarcus Lawrence. I would. Joey Bosa, I'm sorry. I'm calling Joey Bosa's agent, or at least I'm sending him a gift card to Olive Garden. And I want to see what he's doing. I don't see why the Cowboys don't bring in Dante Fowler. I would love to bring in Dante Fowler. I'll tell you another reason I'd like to bring in Dante Fowler. Y'all tell me if you agree. Another reason I'd like to bring in Dante Fowler. So we do realize he's been with the Washington Commanders for, 2 years? 2 years? Wouldn't he be able to tell us some things about them? He's been there a year, right? Wouldn't he be able to tell us something about the Washington Commanders? Not only that, wouldn't you just love to unleash Dante Fowler on the Washington Commanders? Can you imagine the games Dante Fowler would have against the Washington Commanders? Dante Fowler would probably tackle Dan Quinn if he got a chance to on the sideline. If a player was running on the sideline, Dante Fowler would probably try to run that player into Dan Quinn. Dante Fowler, I'm telling you, the Cowboys really ought to consider this. He is going to be playing with the biggest chip of chips. I'd bring in Dante Fowler. I would. I'd get him as a strategic piece. Hey, it's Commanders Week. Bring Dante Fowler in the office. Give us everything you know offensively and defensively. What kind of things can we be expecting? Tell us what you know about Jaden Daniels. What's his tendencies? You saw him in practice every week. What's his tendencies? What are these players? Man, I would get Dante Fowler. He would be worth just the information alone to get a leg up on the Commanders, especially with the team they have right now. I'd bring in Dante Fowler. I don't understand it. I would definitely bring him in. I would definitely bring in Dante Fowler. Asante Samuel, again, like I said, he can help you at the cornerback position. You need those positions. And I think there was another one in here. Let me see if they got this guy. Y'all tell me what you think on Elijah Moore. They said this guy gets open. There was another player on here they was talking about in the secondary that I thought would be somebody that might be good. But again, I'm telling this, man, the Cowboys still got options, and there will be players. They're already talking about there are going to be players released tomorrow. The Cowboys are going to have opportunities still. They're going to have opportunities still. So I don't quite. But again, The Cowboys have thrown the smoke bomb in the barn. And the longer these players stay out here on the market, the longer they stay out here, well, I guess the cheaper the price gets too. The cheaper the price gets. Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, the price is just continuing to go down. The price is continuing to go down on Keenan Allen and one Amari Cooper. And DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm actually laughing because when you read the article on DeMarcus Lawrence, he's already given them the number. Yeah, they're giving him the number now. Because whatever that number is, it's done went way down. It has went way, way down. And again, if I'm DeMarcus Lawrence, is it worth it to move your family if the Cowboys want to bring you in for a cheap deal? So they kind of got him where they want him. Army mom Heather C. said McCarthy was a made man in his mind. There it is. He was a made man, and he coached that way, hung up on the past achievement, and not where we should be going. That's it. He walked in the building. Yep. I've been to Super Bowls. I've won a Super Bowl. I know what it takes. Dak said it. The thing that he likes about Shotty is going to be hungry. He's never won one. Shotty's going to be hungry. That's what he said he likes. Let me pull up a super chat. I didn't see this. Deion Jefferson, appreciate you. Yeah, that's it, Deion Jefferson. Postseason success. That's what I'm interested in. Post-season success. That's what we have to see. Tomorrow, I think what we're going to do tomorrow, y'all get ready. Get your thoughts together. Tomorrow, let's do a call-in show. Yeah, let's do a call-in show tomorrow. Hear some of you guys' voices on some of this stuff. I'd love to hear some of your perspectives on this other than the chat, if you don't mind calling in. So I think tomorrow we're going to do a call-in show. We'll set an hour, maybe. We'll set an hour aside in both shows tomorrow for y'all to call in. Definitely would love to hear some of y'all give some of your perspectives on this. Chanel said, remember I posted that Fowler's downfall is his run defense grade. Yeah. It's 170th out of 211. Now, Chanel, let's connect the dot. So Dan Quinn may be saying about Fowler, I like your pass rushing, but there's something out on Dan Quinn too. His defenses can't stop the run. So maybe Dan Quinn is saying, I want to stop the run. Dante Fowler, you don't fit in there. Maybe that's what he's saying. But that boy Dante Fowler, Chanel, that man is offended. That man is offended, boy. Because he's saying, y'all should have brought me back, boy. He is offended. Luis Ortiz, he said, tackling DQ. He said, I pay bills to see him out for the season. Hey, Lewis, I'm telling you, boy, that boy Dante Fowler get on the team, boy. He might take a shot, boy. He might take a shot and roll at him. Mr. J, you're not touching Bosa. Mr. J, tell me why. Is it because of what maybe I think other teams are thinking? I think other teams may think he's made of glass. Man, Robert Simmons, secret weapon and playbook with the commander. Man, I'm telling you. I mean, I think he would be worth the intel alone for me. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Louise said he'd be on sidelines in a wheelchair. Hey, I'm telling you, man, that boy Dante Fowler is mad right now. Marvin Washington, man, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Ashton Jeanty will not be there for the Cowboys. Ashton Jeanty, I believe, is going to be picked up by the Las Vegas Raiders. They have their quarterback. They're going to get their running back. They're going to get Ashton Jeanty. I'm telling you, man, you can book it. You can go ahead and mark him off. But again, hey, Marvin, we don't have to get Jeanty. Amarion Hampton, Travion Henderson. They'll help us be good too. Jay Recruiter, my man, what's going on with you? Good to see you up in here. Jay Recruiter, boy, you better stop talking like that, man. Jay Recruiter said, I would trade Michael to the Titans for Jeffrey Simmons and the number 1 pick plus another number 1 and number 2 pick. Jay Recruiter, that would literally be the Herschel Walker trade. That right there would be the Herschel Walker trade. It would be. It would be the Herschel Walker trade. It ain't going to happen. Man, I'm going to tell you something. With everything that happened with Luka Doncic, if Jerry Jones traded Michael Parsons, I'm telling y'all, they would have to have security outside the star. If Jerry Jones traded Michael Parsons, I'm telling you, man, the fan base would erupt. I think the only thing that would even make the fan base even halfway sane, you would have to get 3 first-round draft picks. It's the only thing I could. Even then, they would probably be losing their mind, Jay Recruiter. They would. Josh Stanley, he said, always the same Dookie. He said, all about Dak be fan base delusional and biased fans. John Stanley, we got to get off this all about Dak stuff. And I think that's kind of what you're saying. We got to get off all the Dak stuff. And I think that's what this team is trying to do. They got to build a team. So now we just say, Dak, all we need you to do is your part. We don't need you to be Superman. Just need you to be Clark Kent. We only need you to be Superman, not to bring us back. Just be Superman. Do what you do. Get your 3 touchdowns. Hand the ball off. We get another 1 or 2 like that. Do your thing. Defense going to come out here and shut a team down. I'm telling you, man, I want to shut down defense. I do. And I don't think I don't think Jerry Jones is done. I do not think Jerry Jones is done in free agency. So I'm cool. I'm cool right now. Again, I think the tampering period is what's kind of got us in our feelings because we feel like the day 1 and the day 2 players are the impact players. And I don't blame you for feeling like that. I'm not going to sit here and criticize you. I do not blame you. Again, just keep in mind, the Cowboys went for the big fish, didn't get them. And I'll be interested to hear. I'm sure stories are going to surface of other players the Cowboys were going after, and they probably didn't succeed. I'm sure we're going to hear the stories. But I think they made a very honest stab at Greenlaw. Denver just gave, remember, Fly Parts got me thrown off for a second with his comment. We're not the only team that got beat out for Drake Greenlaw. We're not the only team. There was a couple other teams in there too. Fly Parks, he said Asante Samuel Jr. coming to the Eagles. Well, I tell you what, y'all better go and get him. Mr. J said, I'll bring in Tyron Smith as a backup. Well, he's going to be out there. Hassani said, check out Jabbar Muhammad. I think he would be perfect Jordan Lewis replacement. Okay, I'll check him out here later. John Bolden, he said it's puff, puff, pass. Chanel, he said, gee, remember? Oh, yeah, I read that already about that Dante Fowler. Timothy said, Jimmy Johnson is the new consultant for the Cowboys. Man, let me tell you, I'm not really sure about this thing. People said that he was a consultant. I'm not really sure about that. I'm not sure if he's a consultant as much as maybe Jerry calls him up from time to time and says, what do you think about this? I got a hard time believing that Jimmy is a consultant. I do. I have a hard time believing this thing about Jimmy being a consultant. Even though people said it, I just have a hard time believing it. Cooper's not coming back. Jerry would never have him back. Man, let me tell you something. Roger M. I don't even know if Amari Cooper will come back. Man, we may not realize it, but Mike McCarthy did some damage. There are some very broken relationships between the Cowboys as it applies to Mike McCarthy. And the 2 relationships that got broke was Kellen Moore and Amari Cooper. Jerry and Steven basically let Mike McCarthy bully Kellen Moore out of town to get the playbook. You got to make it make sense to me. Who gets rid of an offensive coordinator for winning? Kellen Moore is responsible for the partially a big part to play in the playoff win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if you look at the loss against the San Francisco 49ers, they broke Tony Pollard's leg. We had no option to replace that productivity. You lose the game 19-12. You fire the OC to only do worse going forward? You got to make it make sense to me. And they really rubbed Kellen Moore the wrong way. I think that's why when they brought him in for an interview, I don't even think he wanted the job. I really don't think he wanted the job. And then Amari Cooper. A part of Amari Cooper being ran out was also Mike McCarthy, even though I think another part of him being ran out was the fact that he wouldn't take a shot. And I think that rubbed Jerry Jones the wrong way. But again, they said Amari Cooper is one of these type of cats. He questions things. And Mike McCarthy didn't like his game plan being questioned. He didn't like his I think there was some things on the offense he didn't like being questioned about. So they ran Amari Cooper out of town. Yep, they ran Amari Cooper out of town. And there is some bad blood between the Cowboys, Amari Cooper, and Kellen Moore. It is. Front office, he said, I could not take another season of Malik Hooker, lack of run support. Boy, yeah. Man, hey, Nisi mentioned it earlier in the season. Safety play was atrocious for the Cowboys. And again, who was over the defensive backs? This is one of the reasons why they were not concerned about moving on from Al Harris. And it might have not been as much Al Harris' fault as people think, because, man, that safety play was terrible. It was. I'm in agreement with you. But we got Marquise Bell. The Cowboys could actually replace another one. They could replace both of them right here and go in the draft. I still got an inclination. Shiloh Sanders. Whoa. That boy Jay Recruiter. Expound, Jay Recruiter. He said Amari Cooper kills teams. Wow. Clarence Terry, what's going on? We just had Dante Fowler for 3 years, and there's nothing you can tell us that we already don't know about Dan Quinn's defense. Okay, I get you there. Touche. Touche, Clarence. Touche. I got you. Let me see here. Forever DC. Fowler not going to get paid what he wants because his run D is bad. Yes, sir. Chanel just pointed it out. Sign Coop back. Alan Hayes. Justin Reed signed with the Saints. All right, we got another signing here. Let me see here. I'm sure to come up here in a moment. Man, you know what, though? I'm going to tell y'all this. I am so ready when the Cowboys make a move that nobody expected. Because people are saying this is more the same. Doesn't seem like more the same to me. Seem like these coaches are more involved in everything that's going on. But again, man, I am excited. Man, just wait until this free agency over. We're going to give a grade on this free agency. I think it's over Friday, right? Free agency is over Friday. We'll give our total free agency grade and see what it turns out to be. But I want to see how this turns out before I just give a full evaluation. Because a lot of people have already they've already graded the free agency, not understanding it actually hasn't started. We're only judging it by the fact we didn't get the big names. We got 3 more days to go, and this is real free agency. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, if I'm not mistaken. This is real free agency coming up next. Real free agency. And we're going to really be able to see what was the outcome of this particular draft and how does this draft, not this draft, this particular free agency, how does it apply to the draft? But, and I appreciate these guys, but let me just show you this kind of stuff right here. This is the stuff that really just gets at our fan base. Javonte Williams, downgrade from Rico, upgrade from Zeke. Solomon Thomas, downgrade from Tank Golston. Robert Jones means what? They think Best can't play. He's better than Hoffman. Again, it's either half full or half empty. And people are judging this whole process. And we haven't completed free agency. How do you judge how do you grade the test on a 100-question test and I've only answered 10 questions? Let me answer all 100 questions. Then we'll get a grade on the test. We still got 3 days. We still have 3 days. So we got to wait. We got to wait. We can't say it's the same. We cannot say it's the same until it ends. And then when it ends, we can go back and look and say, okay, this is the same. We can't say it's the same yet. We can't say it's the same yet. Because last year, guess what we didn't do? We did not build depth. We did not build depth in free agency last year. We didn't do that. We basically let everybody walk in free agency. And we just moseyed on up in here, signed a couple of players, let free agency go, brought Zeke in, and we were done. They went on the vacation, taking family pictures. We got to let the process play out. Cowboys Nation 600, what's up? D-Hop just signed a 1-year deal with the Ravens. Don't know if it helps him, though. I really don't know if that helps him. But, the draft is loaded with wide receivers. So if the draft is loaded with wide receivers, you bring in D-Hop, okay, maybe they be a little better. Top Gunner, he said, do you think top free agents don't want to come to Dallas because of the passage of how Jerry operates and all the drama going on? You know what, Top Gunner? I think some of these players do want to come to Dallas. I think they do want to come to Dallas. I do. For all intents and purposes, and I hate to say this, but it is what it is. Why would you not want to play for Dallas when you know what that brings? Does it bring a lot of drama? Yeah, seem like they're kind of exterminating some of that. But it also brings you some notoriety. I know, I hate to say it, but it is what it is. You come to this team, you can possibly have a pretty good life after football. Man, when you say you were a Dallas Cowboy, that means something to people. It does. It means something to people. I think that players do want to come to Dallas. Yeah, I think they do. The problem is just how Dallas works. We love our own. Boy, Jerry loves his own. He is loyal to a fault to his own. He loves them. He does. Forever DC, he said, I'm not the Raiders and the Bears. They're reinforcing their offensive line in the front office for their quarterback and a strong running back. Yeah. The Bears will not let Genty get past them, but I don't think the Raiders let him get past them either. They're going to get Genty. Family check out. Brady Cook, quarterback prospect highlights, quarterback. Oh, y'all's thoughts. Okay, Brady Cook. Timothy Govan, I can already tell you, though. I think the Cowboys already have their mind set on the quarterback they're going to get if they get one in the draft. They're going to get the kid, I believe, from Alabama. That's who I think they're going to get. Deion Jefferson, man, hey, they burning the star down if they trade Michael Parsons. And especially if it don't be if it don't be 3 firsts and a second or a third, man, Jerry wouldn't even try it. I'd be shocked if Jerry tried it. Quinn used Fowler to help teach the D, then cut him. Troy Dudley said he used him up and threw him in the trash. Michael thinks he's accomplished something. This is a problem. Oh, Army mom. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that too. Mike Sutton said thoughts on the quarterback in the draft. It's going to be Milrose. I think he's what the Cowboys are looking for. The Cowboys wanted to draft, or at least this is what the rumor says. The Cowboys wanted to draft Jalen Hurts. Well, Milrose reminds us somewhat of a Jalen Hurts. And I'm going to tell you what I think on Milrose, kind of watching him from a distance at Alabama. I do, some of these popular teams, I do kind of glance in on them and kind of watching Milrose. You know what I like about Milrose? I think he has a very high ceiling. I think he has a very high ceiling from the perspective of there are so many things that you could teach him that he would even be better from the quarterback part as far as the throwing, the reading, all that stuff. I think he's got a high ceiling. I do. I think he has a high ceiling. I think Jalen Milrose could be, 4 years down the line, I think Jalen Milrose could be pretty good. Army Moms Heather said, we need the head coach in DC to challenge Micah. Oh, man, you are talking too much truth in here. Army Mom, I said this before. If you listen to Micah Parsons, he tells stories of how his coaches in college, how they challenged him. My issue so far with Micah Parsons, I don't think he's gotten that challenge in the pros. I don't think he's gotten that challenge in the pros to where somebody tells him, man, you could be better. I just don't know if someone's told him that. Because every time someone talks about Micah Parsons, they start making some of the dumbest comparisons. LT. You don't compare to LT. You ain't play linebacker. He not LT. People don't understand. Anybody who didn't watch LT, Micah Parsons is not LT. They make these Reggie White comparisons. He's not Reggie White. We shouldn't be making all these comparisons. Micah Parsons should be wanting to be the best Micah Parsons. No, we don't need all those comparisons. He calls up people and asks them, how can he be better? No, he needs a coach that coaches him how to be better. Man, let me coach you and show you, man, you don't even understand. You haven't even scratched the surface of how great you are. Let me help take you to another level. I'm telling us, I know we think Micah Parsons is great. I look at Micah Parsons and go, man, this dude could be, people do not understand. This dude could be that much better. You let folk talk in the media, man, he this and that. And they'll be talking stuff that don't even be factual about Micah Parsons. But when you look at Micah Parsons, and if he could really get that challenge, man, Micah could literally be different. Micah Parsons could literally be that different. But we've talked so much about this kid that I don't know if he think he could be better. I don't know if he really think he could be that much better, but I really think Micah Parsons could be a terror if he would really get with the right coach. Be a terror. I want to see what Matt Eberflus can talk to him about. Because it seems to me the last couple of coaches that he's had, rather than him adjusting to them and being coached, it's like they have to adjust to him and let him roam free. Dan Quinn started it. Mike Zimmer eventually gave in and let him run free. I would like somebody to say, no, this is what we want you to do in the system. and you're going to be a monster at it. I wish someone would do that. But it's like we let our coaches bow down to him. I don't like it. Nope, don't like it. I was kind of looking at some of the stuff on X. They're talking about some of the signings. Looks like the Raiders are adding more on defense. They're going to sign Packers first-round cornerback Eric Stokes on a 1-year deal, $4 million. Man, let me tell you something about these Raiders, boy. It's like they're trying to make some kind of run. They're trying to make a run for sure. Yeah, they're definitely trying to make a run. And, the Cowboys also have something working against them. I think everyone kind of knows that Cooper Kupp is the play for the Cowboys. Everybody knows he's the pick for the Cowboys. Now we got people saying the Cowboys should be trading picks and things of that nature. Cowboys, guys, let's just continue to be patient. That's all we need to do is continue to be patient. We're judging the test, I believe, way too quick. Everybody is antsy because the Cowboys, even some of our most faithful, they're antsy because the Cowboys didn't do nothing on day one. We wanted more fireworks on day two. Everybody's getting antsy. Free agency starts tomorrow. Free agency starts tomorrow. Unless somebody tells me the Cowboys have went on vacation and they're done with free agency, I still say let's wait for the whole test to finish. Cowboys aren't done. I don't believe they're done for a second. Tony Nichols, appreciate that $5 super chat. My man Tony Nichols said he having a praise break up in here. I hear you. He said I'm having a praise break. Tony Nichols, hey, I'm telling you this. I'm glad he got the bag. I'm glad he's with the Cowboys. But Tony, I can't be a hypocrite. I can't lie. Man, boy, that second round tender. Boy, hey, Tony, I thought somebody was going to bite on it. I really did. I thought somebody was going to bite on Kevontae Turpin. But at the same time, I'm glad they didn't. Kevontae Turpin will be a Cowboy for the next 3 years. I'm happy. Solidifies our special teams. Special teams remain special. Maybe we can get him in some open space in the playoffs and we'll be fine. Intelligence said, yes, sir. Get that like button and share the content. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Intelligent. Chanel said, CD playoffs. Uh-oh. This man Chanel be coming with the stats, boy. He said 4 games, 24 receptions. God. Targeted 41 times. Receiving yards, 316 yards. 1 touchdown. Man, Chanel. Always bringing them stats like that. Man, Chanel. They get in that boy head, man. It got out on him too, I believe, that if you can get in his head, that you can basically shut him down in his head. If you shut him down in his head, and wherever the head goes, the body follows, you shut him down in his head, he gives up. And I even think that's like someone said when Micah Parsons, sometimes he checks out a little too soon. If they get behind, he checks out a little too soon. Army Mom Heather C, we fixed the O-line. I think we're done that and gonna do it. Draft a stud running back. Think we're gonna do it. Consider this team near fixed. Army Mom, I've been saying it. I know everybody's wanting the Cowboys to make these big splashes. The offense is easy to fix. The offense to me is the easy part of this team to fix. Run game, the offensive line seems to be coming together. Another wide receiver. You're done. You're done. The line to me looked a lot better towards the end. We're going to have players that'll be coming back. They're going to be healthy. We've added we've added one already. I think he's going to be a competitor, and I think the line is going to be way better. We're expecting Tyler Guyton to be way better. Cooper Beebe was nasty. Cooper, man, when you look at the tape on Cooper Beebe was nasty. We need Tyler Guyton to step up. But I think the line is going to be a whole lot better. Easy fix. Wide receiver, running back, the line, just get it in the order you want. The line's going to be fine. The defense is going to be the challenge. The defense is going to be the challenge. The Cowboys still need a bona fide edge rusher. They got the depth. I think they got some rotation. But you also need a true defensive end / edge rusher. Someone who will be good in the run as well as rushing the passer. You got to get that. Now you need, 2 cornerbacks? So we need an edge rusher. You need 2 cornerbacks. You need a slot guy. You need another outside guy. We need to be making plans like Trayvon Diggs is not coming back. And if he comes back and he's good, we want those problems. Linebacker. We got to get to the point to where we stop saying that Sam Williams. We keep saying that. Okay, when are we going to see what Sam Williams really is? And if I was the Cowboys, I would be making plans like Sam Williams ain't going to be what we think he's going to be. And if he is, we want those problems. But the linebacker, this is why I think they were after Greenlaw. Safety, we got Marquise Bell. I think we kind of got the safeties on the team. But again, I wouldn't rest on my laurels with that. I would maybe bring in a couple in the late rounds. You got 10 picks. I would like for them to focus probably, 6 of those picks? I would focus 6 of those picks on defense. 6 of those picks on defense. And for the next 3 days, what can we do with this defense? And I think tomorrow, I'm expecting a lot more fire tomorrow. I'm expecting a lot more fire as you'll probably see some more players being released. I think you'll start seeing a lot of those things. I think the Cowboys are going to get busy. I'm absolutely excited for the rest of this to play out. A lot of people, Monday and Tuesday is it for them. Not me. The real free agency starts tomorrow. All the high-paid players are gone yesterday and today. Wicked said, I don't know about them 92 Cowboys beating them 78 Steelers. Wicked, I'd love to see it. I'm telling you, I'll take them 92, 93 Cowboys, man. I'll wreck every team in every decade. I'll wreck shop with them boys, man. Woo! They were crazy with it. Army Mom, she said those 90s teams had top 6 defenses. Great old line, great running back. Troy was playing within the system, but had he been asked to do more, he could have. Yes, he could have. He never needed to. Facts. I'm telling you, you just spoke all kinds of facts. Straight up. Ultra Cowboy, you better believe that's what they're going to use him as too. He'll be in there when they have the four wide receivers. Well, when they run the quads, he's going to be in there. And they might even have a few plays for him. I would actually rather him run the jet sweep than CeeDee Lamb. I'd rather see Turpin run it. I'd like to see Turpin in the screen game more. I mean, Turpin is a very good gadget guy. You got to better use him. Ultra Cowboy said, no one is more hungry than Dank DeMos. Man, I'm telling you. I think Dak is hungry. Army Mom said Norv not only fixed Troy, but Walsh and Berline. Yeah, that boy Norv Turner was it. He was. Turner was it. Troy Dudley, I'm telling you, boy, them 92, 93 Cowboys, I'm telling us, man, I'm telling you, Wicked. I love them. Hey, Pittsburgh was good. But I'm taking them 92, 93 Cowboys, man. Woo! I'm killing them. Ultra Cowboy, I appreciate your comment. You didn't have to choke. How do you choke when you're not asked to do anything more than do your part? Now, you may not realize this now, Ultra Cowboy, and I appreciate your knowledge, but I can actually challenge you on what you just said. Now, I won't go into the long story tonight, but I can challenge you on what you just said. You said that Troy Aikman didn't choke in the playoffs. Troy Aikman unequivocally choked in the playoffs. And it was in 1994. we do know why Troy Aikman, we do know why the Cowboys lost that game. We do know why well, let me say this. We do know why the Cowboys lost that NFC Championship game. We do know this, right? They lost that game 38-28. Anybody remember what Troy Aikman did in that game? What wound up happening in that game? Why did the Cowboys lose the 1994 Super Bowl? Why did they lose to the San Francisco 49ers? Anybody want to take a wild guess? One of the reasons why they got behind in that game, Troy Aikman was throwing interceptions. That's why they wound up losing that game. Troy Aikman threw interceptions. I'm just telling us. Sometimes we be saying stuff about them 90s Cowboys. Like, man, nobody was making arguments about Troy Aikman. Nobody was making arguments about Troy Aikman being the best quarterback in the league. We never made those arguments. We just didn't. Because we had the best team in the league. We never cared about that stuff. Let me go back to that game for a moment before we close out today. I mean, Cowboys look like they're going to be a little bit quiet until later on. Trying to find the game. Actually trying to find the game stats. Okay, I'm sorry. That was the 94 season, but it was the 95. It was the 95. It was in 95, but it was the 94. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the 94 season, but it was in 1995. It's the 94 season. Now, let me let you feast your eyes on this. I'm just telling us. Man, we be saying stuff about Troy Aikman. Don't you get me wrong. I'm a huge Troy Aikman fan. The man was a general. But let's not say he didn't choke. Because when you look at his stats in the championship game that he had all the stats in, this was one of the reasons why he had all those stats. I want you to feast your eyes right over here. Let me keep that in view. You want to know why the San Francisco 49ers won that game? 3 interceptions by Troy Aikman. And the Cowboys got down in that game, what was it, 28-7? And had to mount a vicious comeback towards the end. Might have been a questionable Deion Sanders pass interference. But that's Troy Aikman. We talk about Troy Aikman in ways sometimes, and I'm just kind of like, hey, man, we be kind of talking like about Troy Aikman like, hey, I'm telling you, we never made these arguments about Troy Aikman the way we kind of make these arguments today, because Troy Aikman was a great quarterback, but no one called him the best quarterback in the league. No one was making those arguments. I can tell you the argument that people was making. Troy Aikman is playing on the best team in the league. Yes, he was. Troy Aikman was playing on the best team in the league. Y'all might not realize this. I'm not comparing Troy Aikman to Jalen Hurts. But we made some of the same arguments about Troy Aikman, or people made some of the same arguments about Troy Aikman that people are making about Jalen Hurts this year. They're saying that Jalen Hurts won because of the team around him. Guess what they were saying about Troy Aikman? The same thing. The same exact thing. They were saying the same exact thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would much rather be a good quarterback on a great team winning championships than being the best quarterback in the league and winning no championships. Anybody would tell you during that time period, boy, Jim Kelly was a beast. They would tell you Jim Kelly was better than Troy Aikman. I promise you they would. There are a lot of people that would have told you that Jim Kelly was an absolute monster. Too bad he wasn't on a monster team. Went to the Super Bowl. People don't even get the Buffalo Bills credit. Buffalo Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost. Do we not understand how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl? They did it 4 straight times. The Cowboys went 3 and 4 years. Buffalo Bills got beat, if I'm not mistaken, 4 years in a row. Wasn't it 4 in a row? Do we not know how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl? Teams matter. I keep telling people this. We make arguments about Dak Prescott. We never made arguments about Troy Aikman. I never heard a Cowboy fan back in the 90s saying, yeah, man, Troy Aikman, the best quarterback in the league. Never heard nobody making that argument. The only argument I heard people make, man, we got the best team in the NFL. Everybody knew it. And if you're really a Dallas Cowboys junkie, you're going to know something else. You know what people really talked about with the Cowboys in the 90s? Their offensive line and Emmitt Smith. That's what people talked about. Because Dallas' offensive line was mauling people. Troy Aikman didn't have to scramble out of the pocket. Rarely. We didn't want Troy Aikman to be a part of the offense running the ball. No, that's what we did to Dak early in his career. How did Dak Prescott get hurt? Dak, do you realize you have that Joe Flacco has more running yards than you? Oh, because we want Dak Prescott to run the ball and be a part of the offense. Oh, that's what we want from Dak Prescott. You see my point again? We never asked Troy Aikman to do that stuff. And the reason why we didn't is because we had an offensive line that was unstoppable. We had a running back that was unstoppable behind that line. And Troy Aikman absolutely, unequivocally ate off of play action. We do know he was a play action quarterback. We act like this is exclusive to Dak Prescott. They're all play action quarterbacks. They're all play action quarterbacks if you ask them. Ask them what would they rather do. They would like to be on a team where they could use play action. They all would want that. We've put Dak Prescott in too many of these situations is the problem. The Cowboys were never in these situations. When you look back at the Dallas Cowboys, when Troy Aikman was there, we didn't put Troy Aikman in these situations. The Dallas Cowboys dominated teams. I don't understand something. That's why we say some of this stuff. The Dallas Cowboys dominated teams. They did. They literally dominated teams. And there was nothing no team could do about it. It wasn't about, I'm sorry, it just wasn't about, Troy Aikman, it wasn't about Troy Aikman. It just wasn't. The 90s Cowboys was not about Troy Aikman. I'm sorry. I know we love Troy Aikman. I do too. It just wasn't about Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was the general. Yes, he was. It wasn't about Troy Aikman, though. Just had a great team. The Herschel Walker trade is the dumbest, greatest trade in history. It was literally unbelievable. And it really set the Cowboys up to do some things that we'll probably never see a team do again. Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles got one this year. Well, let's see them do it again next year. Let's see them do it again. Because the Cowboys probably could have won 4 or 5. I think the Cowboys could have went to 4 in a row. I think they could have got 4 in a row. I'm just telling us, we got to get Dak Prescott in the same situation we had Troy Aikman in. Dak, it's not Dak. It's not do or die for you anymore. It's not do or die for you anymore, Dak Prescott. We got a line. We got a run game. We're not terrible in the red zone. We can control the trenches. We can stop people on defense. Dak, hey, you know what? We kind of got like a 2 turnover. We kind of got like a 2 turnover threshold built in. If you commit a turnover and it's not on our side of the field, they won't score. If it's on our side of the field, it'll be a field goal. But if you can make your turnovers like punts, if you're going deep, okay, we're cool with it. Don't worry. We got a 2 turnover threshold built in. Those teams that the Cowboys had were outstanding, man. They just were. And if you pay attention to what the NFL is now doing, they're all trying to do this. What did the Buffalo Bills do this year? You know how they got to the AFC Championship game? Took the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. You want to know why he had less than 10 turnovers finally for a season? They took the ball out of his hands. You want to know why they got beat by Kansas City? They put the ball back in his hands rather than relying on what got him there. Kansas City, I guess Kansas City stopped them on the run a little bit in the first quarter. They reverted back to who they were before they got there. Hey, Josh Allen the bust. Where you going to bust? Baltimore Ravens got Derrick Henry for the same purpose of what I'm telling us. The Baltimore Ravens got Derrick Henry to take the ball out of the hands of Lamar Jackson, and if they decided they were going to shut down Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens at least said, well, if they stop Lamar Jackson running, they won't be able to stop Derrick Henry, and if they stop Derrick Henry from running, they won't be able to stop Lamar Jackson. Somebody got to make it make sense. Buffalo Bills stopped Derrick Henry early in the game. What did the Baltimore Ravens do? They reverted back to the old Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson the bus. Guess what they did? They burst. They burst. It is rare, whether we realize it or not, it is rare for any team to put on their quarterback year after year, game after game, and say, this quarterback a bust. Show me the record. I bet they burst. I bet you they burst. I bet you somewhere they burst. Now, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT to me. Go back and look at some of those games. We don't give teams credit enough sometimes. Tom Brady had some pretty good defenses. You want to know what happened when Tom Brady didn't have pretty good defenses? They lost. They lost. When those defenses gave up certain amount of points, you want to know what happened to Tom Brady? They lost. They lost. I'm just telling us, dominant players. Ultra Cowboy, you a little bit new on here. I appreciate you being on here. I love all your input. But I've talked about this. When you put a dominant player on a good team, that's when he truly becomes dominant. Michael Jordan before Scottie Pippen? He was absolutely crazy with it. Yeah, he could dominate. Yeah, scoring all the points. Yeah, Michael Jordan was, yeah. But when they brought in Scottie Pippen, he became dominant. Michael Jordan became dominant. You have to put players around good to great players if you want them to reach championship level. You have to put players around them. I'm just telling you. This is the reason why Dan Marino. I just think Dan Marino could be argued that Dan Marino is the greatest quarterback to ever put on cleats. If you're talking about ability. But if you're talking about championships, nope. Not even in the conversation. He's just not in the conversation. There ain't a person alive that'll tell you that Dan Marino is better than, there's not a person alive that'll probably tell you that Tom Brady is better than Dan Marino. I call Tom Brady the GOAT. He is. But if you ask me, hey, is he better a quarterback than Dan Marino? I'm like, man, no. No. Dan Marino was, woo. But he didn't have the team. He didn't have the team. Dan Marino is the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. Bar none to me. Y'all tell me what you think. But I'm telling you, this is some of the stuff about Dak Prescott. We have continued to try to make Dak Prescott something that he's not. You got to take him out of these situations. That's how you win. You got to take him. Intelligence says second-level players as backups are the difference between a Super Bowl or bust on most good teams outside of lots of injuries. Yeah. You got to have players. You just got to have players. And that's the issue. And Troy Aikman enjoyed something that not many quarterbacks get to enjoy. A complete team. Boy, I'm telling y'all, the 92-93 Cowboys were one of the most complete teams I've ever seen in my life. You'd have to tell me one that was more complete. Those teams were absolutely complete. Tell me the weakness on the 92-93 Cowboys. Tell me the weakness. Any of Dak Prescott's team, I can go year by year and I can show you every weakness. And the reason why I can show you the weakness is because it's in the big games and it's in the playoffs where those deficiencies begin to show. Them 90s Cowboys were different, bro. I'm telling you. Them boys were different. They walked in the stadium and the team on the other side knew we're getting beat today. The other team knew. Yeah, we're getting beat today. We're just not as good as them, period. End of story. I can't think of a team that Dak Prescott nor Tony Romo played on that when they stepped on the field, that I even said they're going to dominate every game they step on the field. There's no team better than the Dallas Cowboys this year. Y'all tell me that team for the Dallas Cowboys. You got to help me in Dak Prescott's tenure. You got to help me. What team that Dak Prescott play on that you said there's nobody that can beat us this year? Because in 92, 93, 94, 95, Troy Aikman enjoyed a 4-year period of every time the Cowboys were on the field, everybody thought the Cowboys were going to win. They lost games, but in some of those games, you even got to wonder, the Cowboys just wasn't into it because they knew they were going. The Cowboys were so good, the regular season became boring. It's not that they were not mauling teams. When you're better than every team, the regular season is boring. Name me the season we've ever been like that with Dak Prescott and Tony Romo. We never had teams. And when I'm talking about teams, I'm not just talking about the players on the field. I'm talking all the way from the coaching down. Dak Prescott, this late in his career, this is probably going to be the best coaching he's ever had. That's a travesty. It's a travesty. Troy Aikman got Jimmy Johnson, what, his second season? His second season? When you get coaching like that early, you get a dog. Your coach is a dog. That's your coach. That's the coach the first 6 years of your career or the first 5 years of your career. It's Jimmy Johnson. What? Man, we can't even compare that to Dak Prescott and the coaching he's had. We can't even compare it. Schottenheimer, I don't even put him in the category of Jimmy Johnson. And this is the sad travesty of Dak Prescott. Brian Schottenheimer is probably going to be the best head coach Dak Prescott has ever had. Let that sink in. The best head coach that Dak Prescott has ever had. in year number 10 of his career. It's a travesty. It's a literal travesty. Patrick Mahomes. Is Patrick Mahomes if he goes to the Chicago Bears? Is Patrick Mahomes without Andy Reid? Oh, he'd have been talented. But is he winning Super Bowls? Is he winning Super Bowls without Andy Reid? I'm just telling us, man, sometimes we're not talking and understanding exactly what the Cowboys are even pulling off this year. The coaching matters. We always talk about Dak, but we'll never talk about the coach. We'll never talk about the play design. We'll never talk about the defense. We'll never talk about all of the things swirling around Dak Prescott. We won't talk about those things. We do and make the same mistake over and over. It's Dak or bust. Well, that's why he's bursting. Pressure bust pipes. And you say, well, Patrick Mahomes don't burst. Look what's around him. Look what's around him. Andy Reid is going to go down in history as the greatest coach in the NFL. Andy Reid, to me, is better than Bill Belichick. Andy Reid, to me, is better than Bill Belichick. He is better than Bill Belichick. Andy Reid has always been a master. He's always been a master play caller. He understands situational football. He's had some things happen in his life. He's kind of a psychiatrist, even in a sense. I'm telling us, coaching matters. Man, I'm telling you, it's a joke when you think about the coaches. Jason Garrett. So that's your head coach. Okay, I got you. Mike McCarthy. Oh, okay. So Mike McCarthy. Okay. This man had Aaron Rodgers for how many years? 13 years. Only got one Super Bowl. Travesty. Absolute travesty. Mike McCarthy has never been a motivator of men, and that's why they ran him out of Green Bay, and Dallas should have never got him. Dak Prescott, we don't even realize he's won in spite of these coaches. Tell me Kellen Moore. Has Kellen Moore put up video game numbers since Dak Prescott? He hasn't. I'm just telling us what this team is doing. They're trying to get out of this mentality of Dak or bust. Because if you put all of your eggs in one basket, I don't care who it is, it's going to burst. It's going to burst. We act like, oh, Patrick Mahomes has done it. Go back and look at those Super Bowls. That last Super Bowl they won, Patrick Mahomes needed to be bailed out by the defense. He made a couple of bad mistakes too. He made some turnovers. That defense had to bail him out. All of that stuff matters. And one of these days, we're going to admit the honest truth is Dak Prescott has actually been better than we give him credit for. And the reason why I know he's been better than what we give him credit for, look at what we look like when he's gone. Man, I'll never forget when Dak got the ankle twisted. I went to church with a certain group of people. And boy, they were going crazy over the red rifle. Oh, the red rifle. They're like, who in the world is the red rifle? Andy Dalton. The Cowboys got Andy Dalton. He was backing up Dak Prescott. Oh, he going to take Dak Prescott's spot. Well, lo and behold, guess what happened? He didn't have to take Dak Prescott's take Dak Prescott's spot. Dak Prescott went down injured. Andy Dalton, the red rifle, came in and stunk it up. Stunk it absolutely all the way up. We tried to turn Cooper Rush into the unicorn. We quickly found out again, he's not the unicorn. The Cowboys have got to focus. If this franchise internally continues to say, we go as far as Dak take us, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And the reason why we're not going to go anywhere is because if that's my mentality, then I also say, and because it's Dak or bust, we can be deficient in these areas. We don't have to have linebackers when we go up against the Green Bay Packers. Why not, coach? We got Dak Prescott. We don't need more than one wide receiver when we go up against the Green Bay Packers. Why not, coach? We got Dak Prescott. What does that mean? Isn't he one of the top 10 paid quarterbacks in the league? Yes, sir. Well, then that means he ought to be able to get us over this then. That's what we pay him for. I'm just telling you. Jerry Jones is partially responsible for some of this foolishness. And that's why I'm looking at, and it looks like now Jerry is starting to finally dial some of that dumbness back. It's pure dumbness. Nobody says we only go as far as our quarterback takers. That's dumbness. And we've done this dumbness. And because we've done this dumbness and said this dumbness, we've indoctrinated the franchise and indoctrinated the fan base with the dumbness of Dak Prescott. It's dumbness. And I'm not calling any of us dumb. The concept is dumb. That one player is the reason why you're losing. So wait a minute. When you win 12 games, he's not the reason you won those games. They were easy. The team was not good. They're not above 500. So he don't get credit for the 12 wins. But then you want that same quarterback to now come in the playoffs and say him or bust. And ignore the failings of all the players around him. Ignore the lackluster performances of all the players around him. Why do we need to ignore them? Oh, because of what he's getting paid. Never going to win with that attitude. And this franchise has got to get that attitude out of here. They do. They got to get that attitude out of here. We got to go in this thing and say, we know what Dak Prescott is. Now let's get him what he needs. See, a lot of people, the glass is either half empty, half full. Half empty, he can't do this, he can't do this, he can't do this, he can't do this. Well, if he can't do this, and all we're going to do is complain, well, we're going to get the same result. But what is he? What is he? What can he do? What does he do well? Let's get him what he needs. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles did for Jalen Hurts. And I'm telling you, go look at Jalen Hurts' first Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's mind-blowing. He was 10 times better in that Super Bowl and they lost. You want to know why? Because the defense gave up 38 points. That's why. And it was Jalen Hurts or burst. They burst. He burst. They burst. It was Jalen Hurts or bust. He burst. But this year they said, nope, we're not going to do that. Let's go get him a monster defense. Let's go get him a monster defense that even if Jalen Hurts is not having a good game, the defense is so good, they'll keep us in the game because they won't let the other team score. Let's go get him a running game that's so good that if he gets stopped, they can't stop the running game. That's how you win championships. And anybody pay attention, go back and look at Troy Aikman's. I'll do it another time in the offseason. You go back and look at Troy Aikman's record. Go back and look at Troy Aikman's stats before they got the run game. He was a turnover machine. And I mean, he was throwing some mad interceptions. And wasn't even putting the ball up a lot. Throwing mad interceptions. You know what they did? They got him a run game. You know how you stop interceptions? Don't let him throw the ball as much. It's that simple. You don't fix a quarterback throwing interceptions by saying, well, let's let him get him more accurate. Let's figure out how to get him more accurate. Let's get him better wide receivers. Some of that stuff helps. Better route concepts. That stuff helps. You know what helps more? Ask Josh Allen. Let's stop letting him throw the ball as much. Didn't think of that. Get a run game. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, watch this, threw more interceptions in the playoffs than he did the entire season. Make it make sense. If I'm not mistaken, he threw more interceptions in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. He hardly threw no interceptions in the regular season. You know why? John Harbaugh took the ball out of his hands. He said the way you stop the mistakes of one, the golden boy, Justin Herbert, don't let him throw the ball as much. Novel idea, isn't it? We're Dak a bust. And if we keep that attitude, we're going to continue to bust. They're trying to get away from that, Cowboys fans. They're trying to get away from that. They are. Trying to get away from that. They need more playmakers on this team. And it can't just be Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Parsons. They need more. And if they don't get more, they're not going to do more. They're not. Joey Bosa signed with the Niners. Not surprised. I heard the conversation of him playing with his brother. I bet he took a pay discount. A pay discount. But he probably wasn't going to get the big contract anyway. That's why he was still out there. So Bosa got a 1 year. D-Law, he said, I thought D-Law was going to the Lions. Terry Turner, we'll see about D-Law. I think they're still trying to smoke D-Law out because D-Law thought he was going to get the Cowboys deal with a $14 million contract. Ain't happening. Bleeding Blue said Calais Campbell is too old. Man, I'm telling you, get him as a rotational player. This dude, man, I'm telling you, he just continues to defy Father Time. Everybody keeps saying he's going to fall off a cliff. He don't fall. He ain't listening to people. This man keeps his body in great shape. All right, let me get to the bottom of a chat here. I want to read the last few comments. All right, guys. Free agency, I believe, for the Cowboys is they're gonna officially start tomorrow. I think they're gonna make more moves. Azteca, Jerry did the same thing to Romo. Build the offense around him, but went cheap on defenses. Yep. Same formula. Got to do better than that. Wait a minute. Intelligence Savage said Brian Anger got his money. Cowboys stopped playing and signed the kicker. Wait a minute. They signed Brian Anger. They re-upped on Brian Anger. I'll check that out. He said the Porter got his money. Pete, oh man, he said Mahomes look no better than Dak when his tackles can't pass block. Boy, they made that boy look pedestrian. They did. Louise said he's dink and dunk. It's funny, they called Dak dink and dunk, then Dak started going down the field, and then people criticize him for that too. Dak can't win with this fan base. Yep, Mark Brunell was good too. Yeah, I remember old Brett Brunell. I do. Forever DC, Aubrey isn't a free agent. Yes, they need to sign him though. They have got to sign this dude. They're making a mistake with him, man. He about to be 30 years old too? Ooh, man. Hallelujah. Oh, I like that. I got what you said. Arguing and putting each other. Nah, we're not arguing. We don't argue. We don't do a lot of that here. Nah, we're not arguing about the talent of millionaires and billionaires. Nah, we good on that. Pete says if Dak is dink and dunk, what is Josh Allen? Dak has averaged over 8 yards passing per attempt 3 times in his career. Josh Allen's never even cracked 8 yards per attempt. Telling you. These teams are doing things differently. They're all trying to do the same thing. They're all trying to build teams now because they're realizing, man, I don't care who your quarterback is. If you're not going to put the players around that quarterback, he's not going to win. A lot of people will tell you, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league. What has he done? He needs players. Period. Top gunner, Dak needs more weapons. Hopefully he gets them in the draft. I think they're going to get him some weapons. My girl Niecy, She said we kept Sean Lee forever with his injuries. Oh, man. Yes. Why not Calais Campbell? Give him the Romo practice schedule to ensure he stays healthy. My girl Niecy's spitting facts, boy. Yeah. And again, Niecy, he's just going to be a rotational guy. We don't need him to start. Just let him get in the rotation. Top Gunner, yes, sir. Peace to you, too. Hallelujah. Gee, I was talking about the chat. They arguing over Dak. Oh. Hey, hallelujah. And one thing I'm telling you, the Dak arguments to me are so null and void because the guy's just so good. He's just good. Dak is good enough. Dak is good enough to win a Super Bowl with. You just got to get him an elite. And it's not just Dak. They all need elite defenses. The only one that has done it recently is Patrick Mahomes. And we saw what happened. He couldn't do it himself this year without an elite defense because the Philadelphia Eagles had an elite defense. Man, you need that defense. And I'm telling you, I got so much respect for Jalen Hurts. They tried to come at Jalen Hurts about the Super Bowl. First thing he said, defense wins championships. First thing he said, defense wins championships. They'll force you to be able to make mistakes. They'll force you to be able to go 3 and outs. That's what defenses do for you. He said defenses win championships. Forever DC, I'm with you. I've never gotten the pedestal Josh Allen has been put on. What has he done exactly? I don't understand him or Justin Herbert. I'm with you on both of them. I don't understand it. Hallelujah. You take what the defense gives you, shaking my head. Why is dink and dunk even an insult? Hallelujah. As long as it gets you down to the end, as long as it gets you the touchdown, what does it matter? Our problem was this year was the red zone. Frederick Garrett, boy, stop. He said any quarterback with an elite defense and elite playmakers, that's the point. Overpay the quarterback, you can't get the elite. Yes, you can. You know why I can dispute you? Jalen Hurts. Before Dak Prescott even got paid, Jalen Hurts was a $52 million man. Now, people had an argument, Jalen Hurts' first Super Bowl. They didn't have an argument the second Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, $52 million man. Jared Goff, $50 million man. And they put multiple players around both of those quarterbacks at $50+ million with the way they structured those contracts. They structure contracts better than the Dallas Cowboys. Again, Niecy's made this point. We don't have real GMs. We don't have capologists sometimes doing the stuff that we need to have them doing. These other teams have dedicated GMs, dedicated capologists who are working all this stuff out, and we got guys who they don't really specialize in this stuff. We're getting ready to come upon the end of tax season. Please, if you got an LLC and you got a business and you got somebody that's not a certified tax preparer, please stop letting your homeboy prepare your taxes. Man, you better get you a tax person. Yes, sir. Roger Mayer again. I love it. Depth matters, and that's what the Cowboys are getting. Frederick Garrett. Can't say it on the second one. Can't say it on the second one about Jalen Hurts. Can't say it on the second one. They signed some of these players while he was on the $50 million deal. They did. Signed them. Appreciate you, DC. Hallelujah. He said this show is fire. Hey, man, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be back twice again tomorrow. We're going to do this. Cowboys going to be a lot more active, I believe, tomorrow. For sure. Ice Wall Cowboy, after all these receipts you just gave, G, they still trying to hate on Dak. It don't matter. Hey, Ice Wall, and this is one of the biggest problems. We've been indoctrinated. Jerry played a part in it. The media plays a part in it. We've been indoctrinated. We have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and we talk like we talk like he's Spam and cheese. Boy, I don't get it. I don't get it. It don't make sense. Teams would kill to have a quarterback like Dak Prescott and would have already put players around him. Don't agree with you, Frederick. Nope, he's not a better quarterback. He's got a better team. Dak's a better quarterback. Yep, Dak's a better quarterback. All day, every day. Forever DC. They didn't lose the depth. They gave it up. They lost all the depth in 2023 and only brought in Kendricks and no one else. That's it. They're finally bringing in decent depth. I love it. I absolutely love it. The guy they had to do their cap was a restaurant manager from the Dallas area. Stupid, isn't it? You don't hire a capologist. You hire a guy from a restaurant. That's crazy. Miss Matrix, get ready. I'm expecting to hear good news over the next 3 days, Miss Matrix. I'm excited about it too. Excited. Pete says that Hurts has never thrown for more than 23 TDs in a season. He's not that good regardless of a ring or not. You don't have to be the best to win. Imagine if we got that doggone team for Dak Prescott. Man, please. Please. Big C, yes sir. Thanks for getting them likes up. Aaron Wesley, what's up? He says Stephen A. Smith is one of the big Dak haters. Yeah, he's helped indoctrinate people. Ice Wild, he said maybe because we have the largest fan base, we have more negativity. That part too. And again, Ice Wild, we have a different kind of fan base. You either love us or hate us. The haters are our fan base too. You ever notice on the Cowboy channels, Ice Wild Cowboy, how many haters for the Cowboys come on them channels? Man, the Dallas Cowboy fan base is different. Even excuse me, even the Dallas Cowboy haters, man, they still keep up with the Cowboys. They do. Allen Hayes, no doubt, he's a better quarterback. No doubt. No doubt. Dak on filthy. All right, guys, y'all hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate you. Love y'all. Thanks for the support. Thank you for helping me get to 7,000. Let's push for 8 by the end of this month. Let's go Cowboys. Let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.